I took another legal breath of medicine then.
Taste of freedom, Jim Miller. You don't need that. Jim Miller. He's smoking legal cannabis. Jim Miller is feeling freedom and bliss.
It's funny they don't have a strain named Freedom. All the things they got strains named after. Hey man, you just got a quarter ounce of It's My Goddamn Right. It's an indica. Yeah, I was gonna yell back to you. Oh, listen, I'm just gonna have some marijuana before I come over and we begin. Wait for this people, because I could. Then I think, nah. So you know how long we've been doing this? I'm going to get the permit, and a woman come the other way, goes, "Oh, you're going to get your permits for next month?" I'm like, "Wow, you're smart." And she goes, "No, I bring them down to wherever it is they do whatever they do. You know, there's a lot of going between that building and back here still." So she does that. And I was just joking. I said, "You want me to bring them back to you?" And she thought about it for a second. And you know, okay, I've been doing this too long. So then, when I got in there, it was a simple matter of one person getting the permit, somebody else getting the logbook, checking the dates. No, we'll take care of that. You know, no refill out the forms or anything. Oh yeah. And on the way in, I had my license out, and that woman came over with my visitor's pass and goes, "Oh, I already filled it out. I remember you."
We know who you are.
But what does that tell them is my issue. And even if they don't know it, I think it pretty much subconsciously says there's one of several things at play here, and one could be the issue is very important to them because that's why people come out here. Or they could just be angry people that like taking advantage of that you get to do this, and I'm surprised they don't have a rock band playing. Of course we'd go, good idea. So this is number 92, podcast 92. Oh, 22. I'm working on my Spanish. I don't know why.
Here we go. Where's our music? Welcome to the show.
Bring in the boss one, I'm gonna get mine. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're off and down. When you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown and you fool bitch. So just step back, or I'm mad dad when I come down straight. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, Let's roll! I'm back on the scene, it's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For 2 days, good as any day. Y'all feel slightly this, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises over the top. Don't cross the line, but you know it's right. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, that's who. Let's roll.
Let's roll. Let's roll.
Oh, here comes the police. Goodbye, Lefty.
Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Let's roll.
Oh yeah. I love Thursdays.
Uno más.
I look forward to it.
Uno más por mí.
Uno más. One more for you. Hey, Jim Miller. One more for you, Jim Miller. One for the road.
Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? 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 I say who you wanna roll with? You say who you wanna roll with? We're saying who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with?
Lefty.
Oh no. I can't get this right, Jim.
Is that the sound the computer makes when it won't start?
That's exactly it. I have to wait my 15 seconds. 14, 3, 2.
For real.
Come on, bumper music. Welcome to the show, live from Trenton, New Jersey, at the New Jersey State House. It's the Ignorance is No Excuse podcast, Telling It Like It Is podcast, Sativa Cross podcast, Fully Baked Ignorance podcast.
Fully baked.
You name it. Dan Brady's in the house. Jim Miller, of course, with his cannabis card. Oh, Jim Miller got a cannabis card. Jim Miller got a cannabis card.
They call me Legal Jim.
Legal Jim. That's great, man. Well, congratulations. Welcome to the failed program. Oh, Dan Brady.
It's not failing for me right now.
Yeah. Well, Jim is, you're pretty medicated.
I am. I'm allowed to be.
Wow. We could say that finally.
Yeah. Well, now it's more a matter of finance. You know, it'll go back to when I really need it. You know, see how long I can draw it out. A money thing.
Can you afford the cannabis?
Oh no,
you can't.
Oh no, no. But that's my own thing. It's not like I can't afford anything. Limited resources, to say the least.
A lot of patients are in that predicament, Jim. They got a card, they spent a lot of money and time to get it, and they can't get the cannabis.
Well, I got to be honest though, the money, $320, because I'm on Medicaid, so they get a discount for instead of the $200 registration fee at the health department, it's $20, and get 20% off all medicine, and that adds up actually.
It does.
Yeah. So my first purchase of 3 different kinds in small amounts. If you extrapolated that to a per ounce rate, including tax, it was right around $300, which is Okay, I know. Oh, it's free. It shouldn't cost anything. Yeah, I get that. It should cost less. I get that. But, see, I also am not going to give up the joy of the fact that it's not $400 an ounce like black market was commanding 5-6 years ago easy. You know, for anything decent. We'll see if I've done my job securing this tent top today, but I got to tell you, this is some wind, isn't it?
Oh, boy. Oh, we got our first phone call. I hope we're on the air. I haven't checked that yet. You're on the air with Sativa Cross.
We hope.
We hope.
We hope. Hi.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Days.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I will hear all about it when I get there. I had a rough morning too, so I'm just getting going. So my ETA is about 12:45, 1 o'clock.
Okay. I hope you yeah.
Okay. And I've got lots to talk about.
Okay. Well, I hope you're feeling better. You went to the the New Jersey Cannabis meeting?
No, I did not actually.
Okay.
I did not. But I saw enough footage to be able to comment on it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So is there internet if I bring my laptop, or should I just leave it behind and try to use my phone?
Yeah, because you'll mess up my feed if you bring yeah.
Okay, then. Right. I'm glad I checked. All right. I'll see you later.
Okay. Thanks, Amy. That's Amy from Breakwater. I don't think she works for Breakwater anymore, does she? Maybe she does. Consulting, maybe.
Amy of Breakwater.
Amy of Breakwater. She's a sweetheart.
Robin of Loxley.
She's very, very helpful. She's helped a few patients
Yes.
with their stuff, and she's one of those angel people that help people.
Yeah, you find that to be the case more often in this segment of a population. There's something about knowing, when I say personally, through your own personal experience or through the personal experience of someone very close to you, you tend to generally be more compassionate sometimes than others. And, you know, that doesn't, you know, take away anything from people who are doing really good things and haven't had the personal experience. It's not like you don't know what it's like. But there's just so many good people now. This is kind of what I was hoping for. It's very timely, too, as I'm 65 and we're winding up our weekly podcast endeavor in another 9 weeks. And we're doing it on a wind day that challenged my geometric skills with bungee cords on a tent top and paving blocks and bungee cords to a railing, but this thing is ready to go. I done good. And I did good after legally medicating. You know, it's my first thing. It's not going to last long. I thought the first week that I was a patient, just whenever I felt like it, I would have some. Which is far more than my normal intake, and it generally due to cost. But I had a very productive week, actually more productive than normal. I could be interested in being productive in areas that normally wouldn't provide interest, like washing dishes, pulling weeds, and edging the driveway for some reason. Just felt like it.
So what strain did you buy at the dispensary for your pain? Because I know you have a lot of pain still.
I wanted to try it and just sort of see what worked. So I bought a quarter ounce of Cookie Wreck, Girl Scout cookie and
nice
Train Wreck hybrid. A quarter ounce of Gorilla Glue number 4.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's discussion going on how 4 is compared to 3 and 2.
No, 4 is the best.
4 kicks
GG
3's
four.
ass.
Yeah, it's the best. It's ridiculous.
just call it the Megillah of Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, it's sticky, like you say. It's just amazing.
Well, you know, that's really. It's what did I? How do I know what I want? I mean, I've got a menu. I've already studied the menu before I went out. I didn't want to be holding up people in line going, "Wow,"
Yeah.
you know. But,
Kid in the candy store.
Well,
Is that how you felt?
I remember the closest thing I can remember to walking in there is a couple of things, but the closest was the first time I was at a major league ballpark, and I was probably 5 years
Oh,
old.
wow. That's
and
huge.
I'd only seen ball games in black and white television. So the first time I went to one, and it was so green, and the sounds and the smells. I mean, it's emblazoned in my mind. Time of my life, this is it. You know, I've got everything I need. I've got an appointment. I'm pretty sure I'm walking away with something. Even when it's your best friend and it's illegal, you don't know if you're walking away with something. What do you mean he's not home? Where'd he go? When's he going to be back? It wasn't going to be any of that, you know, a lifetime of that. So I was kind of happy about that. I enjoyed the drive there. I got there 15 minutes early. Somebody came walking by me as I sat in the car with the windows open on such a beautiful day, and I smelled fresh cut cannabis as he walked by. But I'm not sure it was from the bag and what he brought. I think it was just he was standing inside there where the whole inside smells like, and that I guess it gets on you. Who cares, you know?
I love it.
So, yeah, then when it was my turn, I talked to somebody. They explained stuff to you. It's your first appointment. They want to make sure you get everything straight, and I kind of had it straight. So it was more fun just sitting around talking for a while, and then I got to go stand in a line one deep with a big menu on a big bright board behind it, the person taking care of you. And I already pretty well knew what I wanted. It was, yeah, that was pretty fun. And I felt like it's the mistake I make when I walk into an all-you-can-eat, a buffet. The first plate I get is like filled up with stuff, and I'm thinking, why? I can get as many plates as I want. There's no need to fill up a plate, you know, just medium-sized stuff. So why would I want to get so much then? I didn't know what I wanted to get. So I got those 3 things, and also something called Blue Widow, because that was a indica dominant without being, you know, hybrid with sativa. Cookie Rex, sort of hybrid, as well as Gorilla Glue. But I wanted the really stinky one because I didn't care if it smells. It's not going to get me in trouble. No matter where it would be smelling like that, I'm legal to have it. You know, not burning necessarily. It wasn't the burn smell. It was and it's real sticky. So gives the grinder a workout.
Sure does. GG4, baby.
Maybe that's why they call it Gorilla Glue. You put that in a grinder, and all of a sudden that grinder's not turning. Yeah, it's Gorilla Glue. Well, I got to wonder, why Gorilla? Like that, they have to have. It's rude not to.
They do have backstories each. They have Jack Herrera. They have.
Yeah. Well, he's the only one that's named after a person, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't they have a Willie Nelson weed yet?
I don't believe they do. I mean, how could you not have Willie weed?
Yeah. What's up with that? He does have his own brand, I believe, right?
Who knows?
Yeah, I'll look it up. Willie Nelson's. What the hell's it called? Yeah, I'll look it up. We just missed his concert.
Yeah, he was performing with multiple other artists. I didn't find out till the day before, but it would have been hard to block out. It was like 5 or 6 hours worth of concert.
Willie's Reserve. That's it.
Willie's Reserve.
Yeah, he's got his own cannabis now. It's amazing. I love this guy.
But it's not an official strain, though, or is it?
Does he have? Let's see what strands he has. Let's see.
I mean,
Willie's Reserve.
I'm sure he has some.
Are you 20?
But is that somewhere you
let's
could
see.
go in and say, I'd like to buy a 1/4 ounce of Willie's Reserve?
Let's look at his website. It says, "Are you 21 or older?" Yeah. Legends aren't born; they're made, and they grow. You get it? You get it? They grow. You get it? I love this guy. He's crafty, and he gets around.
Yeah, he's seen it all.
He's always down. Flower box, stash box, 1 gram flour, NYC diesel, flow. He's got flow here, so he's got the typical.
Are these
cannabis.
familiar names?
Yeah, they have that at GS at Garden State. They have that. So you can buy a 1 gram flour. A carefully packaged cannabis flour is at the heart of Willie's Reserve product line. 1 gram of flour is the perfect size for sampling the variety and finding some favorites. Dive in. Okay, let's dive in, Willie.
You know, for years, I thought that there was an actual flower. You know, like a flower. I mean, what do you think of when you see flower? And they say, there, that's the flower you where? It's a bud. It's not a flower, it's a bud. It's a leaf, and it's a bud, which is a whole bunch of little tiny leaves, and they mutate and grow over the top of each other, and that whole process of whatever it is I like kicks in, and it does what it does. You know, I'm really gonna have a lot more interest in following people's threads on Facebook about what they think of strains that are now available to me. I mean, where it will be, what it is they're talking about. Because I'm not the one to be asking. You know, I'm not the one to be asking, what do you think of this strain or that? You know, just smile. It makes me feel good. Yep. I'm not the man when it comes to differentiating between. I mean, I can tell you what I think of them and what I like.
You'd be a great judge.
Well, I know one thing: can only judge one thing at a time. You can't judge 2 different things. Like, yeah, what do you think of this?
Jim and Jay.
No, what do you think of this?
What's up,
going
fellas? How you doing? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, man. I'm not breaking any laws.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Hey, Jim Miller's not breaking any laws today. This is
Nope.
great, right? I love this.
I know, Jim, this is for you, bro.
You know? Well, technically, I can't share that with you, but I know what you mean. I've read the rules, but you know, this is for you. Yes, I've still getting a little adjusted to. I don't have to really care so much about my law enforcement surroundings when I'm driving somewhere. It's really nice. I got to tell myself, what are you looking in the rearview mirror, Jim? What if somebody is coming up at 80 miles an hour? You don't have to determine is it or is it not. It used to be so much easier when they had them big gumball things on top of the police cars, you know. But you could see them coming, and even now.
I don't like how they hide now.
No, it's like either a ski rock.
Grab a mic. I can't hear you, Jim. Yeah.
Now you can't even see.
Yeah. What if you need a cop?
Yeah.
And you
You can't
can't
even
find
tell
a
if
cop?
you can't determine if it's a cop or not.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm generally not breaking any
No.
laws while
Not that
I'm
we are.
driving. Well, I mean, I'm taking some few miles an hour on speed limits here and there. I go with the flow of traffic type thing.
They took protect and serve off of their cars
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
no longer on any of their vehicles to protect
Really?
and serve.
Are they going to replace it with something else? I mean,
New
can,
World
can we
Order.
suggest things? Are they having a contest?
Martial law, it's going to say next.
You know, a contest to see what it
No,
is.
but that is a good feeling. Just knowing that you can drive with your cannabis.
The very first thing I
in a
did,
bag
'cause,
and,
you know, I went to Belmar.
not have to worry.
You know, I'm getting back on 295, and when I get on interstate, I tend to look up in my mirror behind me. I mean, one, I'm making sure there's not anybody coming like 90 miles an hour, but it's always with this feeling of, you know, kind of like to know, because more often than not, I'd rather not be stopped, and I've gone a really long time without being stopped at all, you know. But somewhere it'll be. I'll be going through Wakehurst somewhere, probably not in the distant future, and they'll have that roadside checkpoint. And all of a sudden, there's cones, and they're following you by. I feel like doing something suspicious to get pulled over. Just he'll say like, it smells like marijuana. I go, yeah, it does.
Sure does.
It's Gorilla Glue number 4, man. Are you smelling the burnt part or the fresh part? Because I can't get rid of that smell. I noticed I had my windows open. Yeah, I had that when I was home. Before I took off. Were the keys in the ignition? I have an ignitionless car, keyless car.
Yeah,
so,
now what?
I don't know how to frame that. I don't want it to sound too wise-ass but I don't know. It's different. It really is, My first time was on the back porch. Not on the way home. I waited. I'll break that other rule later on. Right now, the first
break
time.
No rules. Step one.
Well, no, No, I was opening them up on the way home. What does this smell like?
Oh, yeah.
What does that smell like?
You were happy?
I was putting it up on the dashboard of the car, driving down 295. What's this? Deal it out.
So you were happy with the cannabis?
I was, yes, I was, and decent bang for the buck. Again, with the being on Medicaid, a 20% discount really adds up. I mean, if it says $100 a quarter, it's 80. All of a sudden, it's a 320 ounce. And that doesn't sound oppressive, because I've been buying black market forever, and until recently, 5-6 years ago, I'm telling you, if you wanted to, I $100 at a minimum. If it started getting less than that, it was, I wanted a certain quality, and it didn't go on. It went on for a few years, and I know it's come down. I don't even know what a standard price is, but I know. First thing I wondered, I don't mean to be picky and stuff, but I got a quarter ounce, which says 7 grams, and I'm like, well, actually, ounce is 28.4 grams. So where'd that 0.4 go? I mean, not that I mind. I get it.
Stop shorting people.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's like at the gas station. It's like they call it 247.9. But that
9/10.
Yeah, right. That 9/10. That 1/10 of one when you're talking that's 2,470 ratio. When you're talking about 4 grams out of 0.4 grams out of 28.4. It's a much tighter ratio, and it's sort of like, then I'm thinking, well, it's a lot better than when I started 47 years ago. It was a lid, which was how big is 3 finger, 2 finger, 4 finger lid?
$50.
Yeah. Well, $50 would be 4 fingers, because it would have been 20.
I remember those days, man.
Would have been $20 on 4 fingers, Well, yeah, if you put it in a bag and smash it and flatten it out, and I don't know. You just buy from the person with the biggest hands. Yeah, 3 fingers.
Okay.
So, it's not like it takes any of the excitement out. I thought it was pretty fun just medicating out, sitting in Lefty's vehicle. And there's just like police walking by. And
Twice.
Like right by.
Twice.
And it's just like you can see it
Cloud of smoke,
everywhere.
man.
There's no students out. If it was going to be kids, it would be a different story. But
Yeah.
when it's adults walking
No
by,
kids.
and I just found that kind of to be fun. So that's why, anyway, my first purchase was sort of like, I want something that really stinks that might get me, recognized. When I open it up in a closed room, I want somebody to go, ooh. And then I'll blow it out and exhale like that.
I do that in court. When I go to court, I open my jar and I wave it around.
Yeah, you get to do that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And then I educate people, because they're like, you could do that? I'm like, yeah. Then I roll a joint right in court. And they're like, you could do that? I'm like, yeah. Watch what I do when I smoke it. Like, really?
Not in court, though.
Not in court, but explain to them. I'm like, get your card. Talk to your doctor. Get a card. You live in Patterson, or you live in Linden. You have PTSD just living in this town. Go get a card. Seriously, if you live in Trenton, go get a card. They won't even question you. Just give them your address. Like, oh, Trenton? Yeah, here's your card.
That was Bridgewater.
What's that, Danny? Grab a mic. Grab the white mic over there so I can hear you. Can't hear you.
What? Oh, I heard Leo Bridgewater, one of our frequent guests, also referenced that thing about Trenton has PTSD. The whole town.
The whole town.
I wish it wasn't funny, but it is. You know, it's the
it's
truth. I'm afraid.
Gunshots, children being shot with random gunfire, rapes and murders, and that's just the police.
Yeah, down at the corner where I live, they shot a couple people in March and killed one. One died. And then they did it at the end of what they said. They did it the summer before that. They had a shoot up too.
Yeah, this town's a mess.
And that pizza place on, I probably shouldn't say this, but on the corner of State and Broad, there was a pizza place there.
Say it.
And they have these glass bricks, you know?
Say it.
And you can see where they were shot up, and their sign has been shot up. And they closed. It's now another shuttered store.
Well, look at the Weedman's joint. There used to be crack and heroin there. Then Weedman comes in, brings a nice and peaceful atmosphere and a beautiful thing, and then now there's crack and heroin back over there again.
Right next door to the...
crack and heroin was kicked out by marijuana.
Yeah. Yeah, the exit drug. It's an exit drug for crack and heroin.
Kick your ass out the block.
Get out of here.
I heard that they were going to take that the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, were going to they're going to be in charge of cannabis.
Really?
And they were going to change their letters to FACT, fact, and give them a whole new department. They can hire more people and they can become more powerful.
Because they're called fact.
That's a fact, Jack.
Because after the law,
I love that.
They're going to own
I like
it.
that.
Fact.
Back.
It's catchy.
Back,
That's what you need. You need something catchy.
Firearms,
Something's gonna be
alcohol.
like, wow.
And they could steal employees from then, like from True Dat.
It'll be big time then. You know, it'll be a big time event. Marijuana. You know.
Yeah. I want to talk to Leo later. Leo Bridgewater. We got to call him later.
What's going on?
Well, there was a meeting at the Galloping Hill Golf Course, and I think Scutari was there. A bunch of people were there. Dr. M was there, and Davis I saw was there. Leo. New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. It's a good group. So they're hoping that legalization next year is going to provide a bunch of jobs, and I think it will.
Well, it will. I mean, it's not, you know.
Yeah. What? How do we get into this business? What do we start? How do we?
Well,
What's step one?
It would seem to be a little on the visionary side and think of what ancillary business is going to arise. You know.
How about shock jock? Cannabis shock jocks.
No,
Hey,
well,
what was this?
Shockcasters.
Did I hear that? Did I hear you say that we were going to have a big Thanksgiving event?
well, it's going to be. We're going to be here on Thanksgiving. I don't know how big it's going to be, and I don't know if it'll qualify for being an event.
By then, we will know. We will know if Bill Murphy gets in.
Yeah,
which is the whole thing rests on him winning the election.
Yeah, normally, I would say in that case the wise thing to do would be to really help Phil Murphy, but he'd have to screw up so bad or be found to be guilty of something. He's going to be the governor, you know. So I'd rather in this case.
Wait a minute, Jim. We said the same thing about Hillary. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, well,
I'm just throwing that out there. We all said that about Hillary.
Okay.
I believed it.
First
and I'm
of all, you know,
and I hope you're right, but God help us all if Kim Guacamole gets in. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm scared. I'm scared, Jim.
It's not impossible.
It's not.
But there'd have to be something new to happen. It's not going to happen with this by-the-book sort of thing they're going to go through.
Red herrings? I have a red herring. I mean, maybe she has a red herring. Maybe Kim Guacamole has something on Phil that we don't know about. She's going to drop it. kind of like what I have. You never know what people got. I
No,
hope he
you
gets
never
in, though. I don't know. She's a mess. She's a mess. There's people in her own party that hate her, on her own ticket. Like Mike Alonso hates her. He can't stand her.
Okay.
And he's on her ticket.
Phil Murphy does get elected. What then?
Yeah, how do we...
Well, he's going to get a legalization bill. He's not going to have to ask for it. Excuse me. Nick Scutari is going to rewrite the bill that he's got out now.
Really?
Is he going to add home grow? Because that's
I will
important.
apologize for my cough, but not for its illegality.
Won't it be more of an editing process, Kim, or is it going to be a rewriting?
No, it's going to be a rewrite, but it's going to be, this is what it's going to be modeled on. It's not going to include home grow. It's not going to happen. Just like Phil Murphy is going to win, it's not going to include home grow.
Dang.
So, the thing is, again, to get one step beyond that, instead of feeling sorry, first of all, though, between now and then, you do everything you can. You do everything you can. When you have a microphone, you don't need to give hand signs, Dan. Hey, listen though.
Jim,
you
why
know,
don't you go smoke some weed?
before anybody would misinterpret the direction of where I was going, is we should do everything we can to express to Senator Scutari, especially, why home grow is important to you, in whatever respect, as an adult. Why it's important to you. It can be for medical reasons. It can be because it would give you more money to spend on your family, and it's your family that says, please buy some because I'm a nicer person when I have some, whatever. It could be, given a choice between this being legal, I would rather do that than drink. You'd be saving people from that.
This law is set up for rich white people to make money.
Yeah. It's not. It's
There's
not.
no mom and pop.
We're not going to be happy about this, compared to any vision we would have of a more. I can't even say more perfect. There is no perfect law. A more better law. That's what we can do now, is to make sure, where can we play? If we can't get him to go with home grow, we need to take a very close look at the bill and see what we don't like that we would like to be better, or what's left out that we would like it to include. And you know where I'm going with this. Patients' only chance of getting their full medicine is if home grow happens in the recreational bill, the social use bill. Patients are counting. Their lives, the quality of their life hangs in the balance. That if they could grow their own, they could afford it. If they can't, they can't. They maybe a little bit, but if it plays a part in their life that's beneficial, or just because they say so, that's what you do in a free country. You have that right. And they're at least close to having that right somewhat, hopefully, in New Jersey. But without home grow, it's going to be restrictive by its cost. We're debating a health care bill of Republicans saying, no, it doesn't prohibit pre-existing conditions. Of course, they can charge as much as they want for pre-existing conditions, thereby making it out of range financially, thereby denying. That's what we liberal Democrats are saying. When I say we, I'm not saying that, but I do know everybody's position.
Hey, gentlemen.
What's up, Eric? So anyway, assume all that, and I think what happens is that Senator Scutari is not going to introduce a bill with home grow for social use. However, if patients started now, and when I say patients, I don't mean if all patients, but if a concerted amount of them started now saying, listen, we got jerked around in the original bill when your grow provisions, Senator Scutari, that you had no concerns about then in 2009, that you got through the Senate committee, that you got passed on the floor. We want that. We want what you promised us and was taken away. We want that, and we want that. Put in the bill right next to rescinding the sales tax. Rescind the sales tax. Tell you what, keep the sales tax. Let us grow it. We won't worry about the sales tax. What do you say? You know, and then try to remind people it doesn't mean all patients are going to do that. If there was an influx of patients into the thousands even, many are not going to do it. I mean, people that are too sick don't know how. But for those who can, they were promised that. It was passed on the Senate floor by the same senator who could include that in this bill. And if he doesn't, righteous anger from sick and dying people would be appropriate, and I would be leading that charge. It's sort of like that's your cost of patients being behind your legalization bill is you bribe them with at least it won't cost you your health. No, I mean, whatever, I don't even know if that's bribery. It's something bad.
A compromise?
Well, yeah, but it would get patients, and it would also then give people reason to be in the program. You know, I have to wonder how somebody.
Maybe they should get rid of that 90-day. Every 90 days you have to get recertified. That feels quite unnecessary.
That's tough.
Yeah,
they could at least make that maybe like once a year, or once every 6 months.
If it's like every 90 days, somebody stops by your house with an appointment to count your plants. You know, it's
I mean,
like,
that's better.
Yeah, you know, I want something too. Whether you know, this offers a unique chance. In no way, Scutari or anybody's going to go back and all by themselves say, let's make this right for patients and have a bill introduced that would allow them the provisions that we said we were going to allow them in 2009. They're not going to do that, but they've shown that they would rescind the sales tax on marijuana in this bill, include that, like a bargaining chip, where they're not willing to have a private bill for that. I mean, if they know it's wrong, why not have a bill right now getting rid of the sales tax, right? I mean, what does that have to do with social use?
That should be an easy fix, because is there
yeah, they could rescind it. They could, you know.
Is there literally any other medicine in our state that gets taxed?
Not over the counter, nor
not in the country.
Under the counter.
In the country.
So
we don't need no stinking counter with cannabis is the problem.
So
it's recommended.
But it's legal. Actually, cannabis is legal. Nobody knows it yet, though.
Well, I know you keep saying that, but you know.
I wish it was.
It's unscheduled. It's not scheduled right now.
Isn't it still considered Schedule 1?
In New Jersey, no, because we have a cannabis law, so it can't be Schedule 1.
No, but that's by logic, not by statute. By statute, it's illegal, and courts go by statutes, not by. Well, I can grow tomatoes. They don't go by stuff like that, you know. So, like, you can say that all you want, but I would advise you against advising people that, because if they point to you, you become complicit and accessory to whatever it is that got them in trouble.
Well, it's their fault for screwing the law up.
It's their fault for listening to you.
Don't listen to me.
It's what their fault.
But listen, when I see Scutari next week or 2 weeks, I go to court with him. I'll have him in a room.
Yeah.
So should I ask him about that?
That's exactly what you should ask him about. Because you're correct. It makes no sense. It is contradictory. And the fact that our governor explained the reason that this bill that Nick Scutari wrote had so few patients originally, remember, it had so few patients, and when confronted with that, saying it was his regulations doing it, he said what was doing it is that we had the regulations that made it a truly medical program. So it was only real patients getting it, and that's why it was so few. So he was saying it's a truly medical program. But it's not, because Division of Consumer Affairs, who for some reason is in charge of that, maintains it to be Schedule 1. They say yes, it is. Now, that's impossible. It can't be both. So it would be an interesting court case, I think, in a in an outcome that was either going to be $500 fine or you're innocent. Not one that's going to send you to jail for 2 years or you're innocent. You follow what I'm saying? I'd love to see a test case in that because...
let's go get arrested. Come on.
Oh, hell no. You must mistake me for someone else.
Come on, Eric. Let's go get arrested.
I already have to fight my case.
All right. Well, there's your fight right there.
That is, I already have my fight.
You have a fear.
I already literally have a fight.
Okay, so it's tell the judge it's legal. Tell him you're I'm the law. Say I'm the law.
I actually already submitted by myself an addendum that said like this does not work, and it was based off of Ed's original one, and it said like it said that this should not be Schedule 1 because the state literally says that there's a medical program and it's contradictory, and I actually explained that to the judge, and he shot it down.
What do you think of Cory Booker's bill? Federal bill.
I like it.
I think that
But it's not going anywhere.
while we're doing whatever we're doing that we're talking about now, we should not forget that bill is out there, and there's nobody within our own senators to lobby for their support. But if we know somebody in another state, or we do things through Facebook, we should see about helping Senator Booker get other senators on record as to why they will or will not co-sponsor this bill. And that it is a bill gives people in other states the right to approach their senators and ask what they think and why. And it'll be a form letter, likely, but sometimes it's just, that's what they need to see. They need to see people actually giving a shit, where they actually make the contact. So that's what I like about Facebook, though. There's so much I don't like about it, but what I do is that sometimes you can actually just feel where people get it. It's like it is that important, and all I got to do is call this number, and they break through what it takes and actually make the call and go, well, that couldn't have been easier. Or an email if you know it's going to get there like that. That's advocacy. That's not activism, and that's all it takes sometimes. Activism is for when advocacy isn't going to open the doors. And in this case and where we are, that is the case often.
Booker's bill legalizes marijuana, expunges federal cannabis convictions, and penalizes states with racially disparate arrests or incarceration rates for marijuana-related crimes. The changes are aimed at doing some of the harm the nation's decades-long war on drugs has inflicted on poor and minority communities. And I can attest to that because in Linden, I'm the only white guy in there. It's all blacks and Hispanics being prosecuted for cannabis and jaywalking. I'm not kidding. It's a bunch of shit going on.
Yeah.
It's scary. So it's like 1 out of 10 in Linden.
Yeah.
It's usually 3 to 1. Linden's 10 to 1.
No, but how do you go about assessing what to do with your time? You have so much you're involved, and at a point like that, is there not somebody that's a go-to person you could say, if there's something I can do to help you, that I will, let me know what it is? Somebody already involved in assessing, dealing with that problem.
Yeah, that's something else.
Okay, if this doesn't blow away now, it's not blowing away.
Yeah, that's a big one. I'm going to mention that to Prosecutor Scutari also.
Is it actually Scutari or is it someone in his office?
No, I've been through 3 prosecutors already. The first one I was scared. The second one I called a dumbass, and they moved me on to Scutari now.
Oh, great.
It's my 3rd prosecutor.
They change your prosecutor?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm hard to deal with. They don't like this. They don't like this view.
Oh, are you when you're in there? You're like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm
okay.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
Because I have a right to be.
Yeah.
That we pay their salaries. We do. We pay the prosecutor's salary. So when she tells me I can't film her, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. You have one job and know the law. Know the law and know that I can film you.
Yeah, it is their job to know the law.
Like, I'm a dumbass and I know the law.
Well, there is something that doesn't stop you from doing anything. You do it like multitasking. You have to be there, so while I'm here, I'm going to make sure that they understand I get to film. And I like that. Because you do have that right, and they should be reminded of that. And it doesn't take you out of your way, and then you end up with better film. I kept trying to tell my better half that she was we're picketing the Republican Ocean County headquarters. And then, when it's, I'm calling the police.
Thank you.
I had to explain to her before they came, don't you dare do anything. Somebody holding up a hand is great video. You just video this. And, she did good and all, but, it's easy to get somebody to turn off a camera.
I love when they call the cops. It's like, okay, bring the blinky lights, bring the crowds, bring the cameras, bring the guns, bring the good-looking men and women. Bring it all. Okay, thank you. It's like a movie set that comes to you.
So what is the potential outcome of going to court? Now, do you have a court date?
Yes, October 10th October 10th is my assault charge. October 11th is the court date with Scutari.
Okay,
Busy
so which
week.
is the assault charge?
I was assaulted in Bayonne on the wheelchair crawl.
So who's charging
so you're the
who?
plaintiff on that
I'm
side.
the plaintiff. I'm charging them with assault. Yeah, he slammed the door in my face and my camera.
So that court is in Bayonne.
That's in Bayonne
on Wednesday?
Tuesday, and then Wednesday is Linden.
Oh, back to back.
Back to back. And my back is going to be like, ouch.
Back to back,
Well,
literally.
Careful how and where you medicate at that point then.
Just be outside and away from the door.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Look,
Not
you
inside.
know, out of all the things you do on the I&E tour, you've pretty much done most of them before. This is stuff that seems like you get more bang for your buck. Go ahead and actually suing somebody for assault in a case like that, because you can't sue them for being rude, but when it does that, that's where the playing field is in your favor, that you even get to do that.
Let's see if I can find the video of her. This is great video.
Of the person shutting the door?
Yeah. No, this is the prosecutor. This is at the Linden court. I got a new prosecutor. She did not like me filming her at all.
Wasn't sure.
But you are allowed to film your prosecutor.
Who's
Oh,
recording you?
here comes the narc. This institutional racist comes up and says, he's recording
You're a narc.
you.
What a narc.
Proud to be one.
Fred a narc. Narc out your own people. I know.
Tells me to turn my camera off. So I think her name is Lorraine Nelson. Why do they hide these prosecutors so well? Like, you can't get information on them. I want to go to her office and find out if she has wheelchair access for disabled people, and I can't find her office. I'm going to see if she's breaking the law.
Giovanni Augustine. For not having
Watch
your
this.
insurance card in your possession when you were stopped by the police officer, please also have your insurance card out as well.
Watch this.
Okay, turn it off before you come to my office.
Okay.
The camera stays outside,
Okay.
the phone stays
What do you have, something to hide?
No, but you're not allowed to record
Yes,
in
I
my
am. You're a
office.
public servant.
Okay, you're not coming in my office.
pay. Okay, well, I'm going to Nick Scutari's office.
Okay. Well, now he's my new prosecutor, and I was happy when the judge said that. The judge says, "Mr. Grimes, don't call the prosecutor names."
What's the book he can throw at you? What's the worst that could happen? There's parameters in a case like this. There's a maximum for everything.
$500 fine for breaking a jar in public.
Yeah.
But who breaks their cannabis in public? You guys know how much it costs now.
You're using logic. Don't count on logic getting you out of anything in court. God. Or anywhere, really.
Yeah, it's true. I couldn't imagine, like, why the hell would I, even if I had an empty jar, why the hell would I do that? Like, what do you gain?
You need that to get out of jail. It's your get out of jail jar.
Yeah, exactly. Why the hell would I break, like, I don't understand why any legal patient would do that,
Well, the
even
cop,
if they're frustrated.
The cop had nothing else to charge me with.
I was so happy, and my first purchase was not that it was.
Yes.
In a plastic bag, or what is that?
Pouch?
Yeah, the Ziploc little thingy.
Yeah.
I don't have it on me.
I haven't been there yet. I haven't been to that.
Oh, so you got Ziploc bags. You don't have the jars yet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, good luck with the jars.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I would like having a jar at all for that reason.
At home, it's good. In your home, yeah, fine. But when you're out and about,
it doesn't fit in your pocket.
Yeah, you don't want a jar.
Yeah. It does, like, I can't carry it with me.
I'll be impressed one day when you have to interact with an officer of the law, and I'm a medical marijuana patient. Here's my pouch, and I hand him it, and he looks at it and goes, "GR, gel, what was that, Gorilla Glue?" And he goes, "That's not Gorilla Glue, dude." Yeah. I mean, what if I'd be so impressed, because the pouch really just gives you immunity. You can put whatever you want in it. There's no way anybody's going to know. And I'm just pointing dividing lines. It's the ridiculous nature of it.
Well, we'll have enforcement officers someday. Cannabis enforcement officers coming to your home, counting 99 plants. If you have more than 99 plants, you're in trouble.
Yes, if we were living in a world where if I had more than 99 plants, I'd be in trouble. I'd be in nirvana for crying out loud, you know. You need that 100th plant. You go live in. We don't live in the same neighborhood. We don't associate with the same people. Go away. Yeah,
where is 99 plants allowed?
Oregon?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe Colorado, California?
We should know because it'll be the one that's pointed to with the next thing you know. Whenever we try to make strides, they point it at the heaviest load.
I'll ask.
And, you know, it's... Of course, yeah, I mean, we can make that look like, well, it's going to be 6 plants for patients. Okay, that's not enough. I'm a patient now. I'm pretty sure that with the ability to grow 6 plants, that would be, I could make it suffice, you know, and have weekly poker games. And
Let's call someone in Oregon and ask them. I think they would know. I'm pretty sure Honeybee knows how many plants we can have.
You're going to wake her up.
Yeah, she was, yeah.
I'll give you 2-1 on that.
She was out trimming lately, trimming some buds. What a job, what a life.
She's waking up right now. At 9 o'clock. 9:09.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're on the air. Ready to go.
Oh.
This is great. I love this.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Great.
I have a question for you.
Who's the bigger douche?
No, not yet. That's later.
Lefty or Lefty. Lefty or Edward.
All right. How many plants are you allowed to have in Oregon? 99 or more?
Have?
How many?
Like,
If
personally?
Yeah.
You're really asking me this right now?
Yes. I woke you up to ask you this. I love this.
Oh, you're being a Richard right now.
My middle name is Dick.
Yeah.
I love this. I put you on the spot.
It's usually somebody else that says that.
Well, aren't you sleeping in a pot field right now?
Let me look.
Count how many plants are in your pot field right now. Just count them, real quick.
Roads are paved with buds.
How many are in my pop?
I
don't know.
I think it's 99.
I think it's 99?
Yeah. Oh my God, our tent's going. Oh my God, our tent. Look at this. Look at this. Jim is filming it, so he's just gonna watch it blow away and film it blowing away. Jim is great. Make sure you get good footage of all our shit being destroyed. At least we'll have that.
Well, I've used all my bungee cords and the proper angles and proper points that this thing shouldn't collapse or break apart. But it is about as well. It's fixed to a railing too.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I'm betting the tent on it. I'm betting the Coalition for Medical Marijuana's only tent on it. For podcast 92, though.
92. Oh wow, we're on 92.
We are. We've only got 7 more left after today. It'll be a number 100 on Thanksgiving. A lot of people don't understand the logic in doing that. And if you'd got to have it explained to you, you wouldn't understand. It's a good way of getting out of explaining anything.
I think I have a can of beans in my car that I'm starting. I'm starting with a can of beans.
Well, that's another thing. People are going to bring it by then. If we're really going to try to get stuff donated for this place, getting people to drive out on Thanksgiving morning, you know, it's more to get people here. They'll want, they get to do something good, you know, to start out their Thanksgiving for somebody else. You know, it's not, what do you, Christmas and Easter, they can go to church and start out their day and they're feeling good. They're coming back from church, you know, they're taking part in the way that they know how. And to be having a good Thanksgiving dinner, realizing there's others who can't, and knowing, hey, on Thanksgiving morning, starting at 8:30, there'll be somebody in front of the annex. They're having accepting stuff then, and when they're done with their podcast.
Yeah, we need to promote this.
Yeah.
To let people know.
Well, you know, we need kind of a plan, and if it's going to be like, well, somebody walking by, if there's something that's been dropped off they need, they can just get it directly there. But it's just stuff. This is going to be stuff in boxes and crates. What are they going to do? Take it all out and leave it all around the sidewalk? I mean, we don't have a real plan.
We need a drop-off basket here to drop off
but
stuff.
for somebody to say to them, go ahead and take, you know, if it's clothes, they're going to be in bags and protected and stuff. It's, you know, it's you know, I wouldn't put up a big sign, take whatever you need or anything like that. However, if, you know, I like the idea of gathering it and bringing it over to where it is that Jason was mentioning.
I missed my blunt.
So anyway, we 7 more after this. That's it. I'm retiring from regular podcasting then.
But not all podcasting.
No, I'll stop by. I'll stop by when something's going on, but it's the regularity of it.
No, we don't need to be here.
You know, I could do a regular thing. Seriously, I could do a regular podcast, like an evening podcast or something. You know, easier, but without. It's not with setup. You know, where you just you're there, you walk in. Podcast, okay. Podcast done. See you.
But everyone does that. Nobody does this.
I know.
Nobody.
After 3 years and our 90-second podcast, I have a pretty good idea why. I mean, look at this wind tunnel we're in today. This took some special doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, we're getting gusts like
Wayne.
well into the 20s. You know, 25-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, wow.
But I did get to start out the day by having some medicine in Lefty's vehicle in the bright sunlight right in front of the annex with state troopers and attendees of other stuff going by, and boy did it stink, because this one was on me.
Yeah, it was a smoky one.
And I when I decided what I wanted to get my first legal purchase in my life was what's the stinkiest, smelliest, what do you got? And just sticky stink, and you know, because normally I'm not disappointed when it doesn't stink real pretty, because that might get me in trouble or identified. But now I don't care. You know, I want to stink pretty now.
You stink pretty.
Yeah. So anyway, we were beginning the day like that, and
Oh my God.
and I've found that actually medicating to a more maximum amount than I'm used to seems to play in my favor. It's that mid-range makes me lazy, you know. When I get up there towards, like, you know, this morning's medication session, it's just been nothing but getting stuff done.
It's nice, isn't it, being able not to worry?
It is. Well, you know.
However, you're starting to sound like Lefty now.
Whoa.
It's nice. I just sat there. It was
I could take that.
and
I could.
Police didn't come by, and I don't care.
No, I don't with that because that's the best part is I can smell like that wherever I want, and I could wear perfume.
The
that
best
smelled
part
like
of the
that.
card is not having to stress over not getting
and
arrested.
That's kind of what I'm doing.
Unless you're left.
I'm not satisfied with
Can't
just
win.
walking around with a secret that keeps me less stressed on. I'm going to demonstrate it. I mean, without actually using my medicine, but here I know we can. I've watched. It's been years. Today was the first time I could. You know,
well, the police.
Yeah, we're not waving it out the window.
They just assume that we're all patients, which we are at this point.
Yeah, everyone at this table is.
And then we carry on with what we got to do. We break down and go home and do it the next week. But only 7
We
more.
always leave it looking just as good, if not better, than when we got here.
Yeah. We do. We police
are
the
not
area
lazy
pretty good.
stoners.
Who's a lazy stoner?
We take care of it.
Not us. There's a group in Philly that's Mike Whiter and friends, I believe. They call themselves Not Lazy Stoners. And they'll go around like once a month to a major intersection or a park and clean it up, pick up trash, and
I'll tell you,
smoke while they're at it.
Who wishes we were
It's a good idea.
lazy stoners would be the governor and people on the other side of the coin for the reasons that we show up here every week.
Well, I gotta head out. I gotta go to work.
Loser.
But it was great to see you.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Work.
unfortunately.
Ooh, lucky you.
You look dressed in school
Have a good one,
clothes.
brother.
Yeah, so I'm dressed up a bit.
Yeah.
But, hey, hi and bye. Great to see you.
Bye.
Hi.
Do you go to
Gotta
court
get to work.
again, or are you done?
Yeah, I gotta go to court again.
When?
But I have to get a lawyer first, so I'm working on that.
When's your court date?
In 2 weeks.
And what is it for?
What?
For
possession from the past, before I had my card.
Oh man.
So I'm still dealing with it, and I've been fighting it. But as I said, the judge shot down my medical thing, even though I have a card now. So now I really need to get a lawyer and spend a lot of my money that I don't have.
Why do you need a lawyer?
Because I already put up the medical defense, and the judge basically said nope.
No, that can't.
Even though even though I was working on getting my card, and I showed the paperwork to him, but he was like, it doesn't matter because you didn't have your card on that day, and that's all that matters, not whether you have the issue. All that matters is you didn't have your card on that day. That's what the judge said.
So what are they going to fine you?
I don't know, but I'm working on it.
I mean, you're going to pay a fine anyway, so I wouldn't even pay a lawyer. You're going to pay a fine.
Yeah, but then but I'm trying to get it not on my record. Yeah.
Plead to something else.
So.
Yeah, because probation's not going to affect you, because you can still smoke.
Yeah, I know. At this point, that doesn't matter. So, I mean, yeah, they could put me on probation. What's going to happen? But I don't think they are. I don't think that's the route they're going. They're just trying to get my money. I think they're trying to get my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely not trying to put me in jail. It seems like so.
I would save your money for the fine. Screw the lawyer.
Well,
they're a bunch of sharks and parasites to me. Vampires.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I don't want it on my record. And the only way that'll happen potentially is if I get a lawyer.
Let me go with you. I'll film the prosecutor.
Don't do it.
I'll go by myself.
What's your prosecutor's name? Where does he live?
My prosecutor
Where is this guy from?
My prosecutor and I are not.
Give me his name.
At each other's throats. So.
Well, we're gonna be. Give me his name. We're gonna change that right now. We'll fix that.
It's not that antagonistic yet.
Yeah, no, it's that time. No, I'm done. I'm done. Let's get him.
Start lying about where and when things are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
Court? Yeah, it's not till next month, man.
Yeah.
Liar. You're just like them. You're lying just like them.
Tell him it was dismissed no matter what happens.
I wish.
Yeah, just a little wink when he can't see. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. Say no more.
Say no more.
You know what I mean?
I'll find him. Don't worry.
Oh,
I will find him.
Yeah.
Vampires.
Run, Eric, run.
Yeah.
Now, so maybe I am going to jail then.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually had some business Lefty on your side, you might not get a lot of calls.
Yeah, Lefty on your side.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get it done.
You'd be an investigative journalist. The shame on you could be the shame on you guy.
I am. I'm past that already.
Yeah.
I'm past shaming them.
Yeah, you're the extreme shame on you. You're the.
So look who's here. Ken Wolski's here.
Right, well, I gotta go, everyone.
Another
Bye.
card holder.
Bye.
Yet another card holder.
Hi, Eric.
We are 100% patients.
I hope the letter that I wrote for you helps. Watch your foot, right, Eric? Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
I hope the letter that I wrote for you helps.
What?
I hope the letter that I wrote.
The judge shot it down.
So.
Yeah, the judge shot it down. So yeah, I can't hear you, Eric.
Yeah, he says the judge shot it down.
The judge said it doesn't matter because I didn't have my card on that day. Even though I have these medical conditions, and he said he feels sympathetic, he said I don't have my card that day, so he can't accept my motion.
And this matter is being determined by him and not a jury?
He said, yeah, it is, because it's a municipal court.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he said. And so now I have to pay a lot of money for a lawyer, and I can barely afford it as it is.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm on Medicaid, and I'm just screwed in this situation.
Don't
so
you have a right to a public defender if you're charged with this, or does
unfortunately, I made just a little too much last year.
Yeah.
So
what about the scheduling issue? Did you bring up the scheduling issue?
I did. I wrote that in my motion, and the
didn't
judge
matter.
basically the prosecutor didn't even say anything. The judge was just like, nope. Pretty much, like, the prosecutor didn't make an argument. Well, all he did was say, he said, like, oh, well, you don't have your card at this date, so we can't really accept your motion. And then he said to the prosecutor, is that the state's position? And then the prosecutor just said, yeah. So the prosecutor didn't really even make that argument. The judge made the argument, and the prosecutor's just like, yeah, sure. So.
No, but the matter's not resolved yet. So,
no, it's not. So I still need to get a lawyer, and I'm working on it. But I've
And
been running around.
What's the maximum fine?
Potentially 6 months in jail. But I don't think that's going to happen.
You could demand a jury trial at 6 months in jail.
I believe you can.
You can.
Ooh.
Really?
There's your.
Yeah.
There's
$500 fine, 6 months in jail is what kicks in jury trial.
Ask for that, Eric.
I'll look into that.
Ask
No,
for
that's
I'll
a
look into
fact.
that.
I'll tell you that right now.
Are you're certain I can do that?
Yes,
Well,
I
then I
am.
will demand a jury trial if I can do it that way.
Good. Now,
Nullification.
Alan Moraine is probably the top defense lawyer for marijuana offenses in the state of New Jersey. He's a lawyer from New Brunswick. Have you been able to discuss anything with him?
I've been so busy, but early next week I'm going to discuss it with him.
Yeah.
Like either tomorrow or Monday. But I'm afraid he's going to charge a lot of money.
Well, I think the first consultation's free, so you can certainly discuss it with him and discuss your options, and he can give you some more information too, Eric,
I'll
about,
try to.
about that.
Next week I have a lot more free time. This week I've been running around.
Yeah,
But next week I'll have more time. Hopefully I can.
Alan
If not,
Moraine, M-A-R-A-I-N in New Brunswick.
I know. I just have a feeling he's going to charge an arm and a leg,
MarijuanaLaw.com.
but I'll try it.
Yeah.
But I'll at least check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just can't spend all my money.
And of course, Ed Fortune has successfully defended himself in front of a jury, but I really wouldn't recommend that. That's a difficult thing, and Ed Fortune's in jail right now too.
I know.
So,
I don't. I mean, I'm going to talk to the lawyer next week.
Yeah.
And I have a backup lawyer, idea too. So.
Okay.
So I have two people to talk to, and I'll probably go with one's cheaper, honestly. So.
Free.
And
I'm free,
so maybe you can you can certainly reintroduce that the letter that I wrote in evidence in the court trial. That here is a person who suffered from conditions that marijuana can help, and even though he wasn't able to get a card for one reason or another, he still had these conditions that the state of New Jersey recognizes as being helped by marijuana therapy, and he was using it on his own.
Yes.
Yep.
So let's see what a jury's going to do about that.
If I can get a jury, because since it's a disorderly person's offense, so that's what makes it. I don't know if I can get a jury because it's not an indictable offense; it's a disorderly person.
Right, right.
So I don't know what.
A jailable offense, though.
But it is a jailable offense.
If you're talking 6 months in jail,
disorderly person is like laying Cheryl down in Bob Barr's doorway. That was a disorderly person. 6 months and $500 maximum, both.
Right. No, see, people don't realize that the state of New Jersey decriminalized marijuana some years ago. But when they decriminalized it, they removed it from the criminal code and made it a misdemeanor. So instead of having a year in jail as a felony and a $2,000 fine, now it's only 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Yep.
So which is still unacceptable. So, there are different levels of decriminalization, and we've already done it here in New Jersey.
We've only done half decriminalization.
Right. And it's still an unacceptable state of affairs here in New Jersey.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. But, I'm going to talk to Moraine. He's the first guy I'm going to talk to.
Good.
And then next I'll talk to another guy. I think his last name was Sisto, and he's from Toms River. He's my backup one because he's on the New Jersey Normal Legal Committee, so that's my backup plan.
All right.
But it's probably going to come down to which one's cheaper because I can't afford too much.
Or which one is closer to you? If you talk about a court appearance in Toms River, for example, might be more expensive for a lawyer based in New Brunswick than it is
that's
for
what I was
a
thinking
lawyer
too because mine's
River.
in Stafford, Manahawkin, so that's only maybe a half hour to 40 minutes from Toms River instead of an hour and a half.
Right.
And I know they charge a lot even for the drive time.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's something I'm thinking about too. That's why I might have to go with the guy from Toms River. But I'm still going to give Moraine a call and a chat.
Good.
So just so I can see what his point of view is and opinion is.
Tell him,
especially if it's
tell
free.
him Ken.
I will. I'm going to say Ken Wolski advised. Yeah, I'm going to say that. If you don't mind.
Drop Ken's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll name drop you if you don't mind.
Not a problem.
Great. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.
All right.
Good luck.
All right, Eric.
Thanks,
yeah,
Eric.
Yeah,
Good luck.
definitely good luck with that.
Good luck, man. Wow. What a waste of time.
It is.
Really?
Yeah, terrible. You know, a legitimate medical marijuana patient, and we see that time and time again, who has conditions that marijuana can help, and even the state of New Jersey recognizes that marijuana can help these conditions, and you know, they still face jail time and serious fines. And but here today, I want to present to Trenton cannabis community 10 pounds of wristbands.
We're so excited! Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Hemp wristbands.
We got 10 pounds. That's awesome.
Damn.
Yeah. So we are.
I thought you were going to say 10 pounds of weed. Whoa! Hold on now.
That'd be a different program.
No, it's totally legitimate. These were some of the 25,000 wristbands that were donated to us, and so we're happy to share them with the Trenton cannabis community as a fundraiser and to support this new organization in Trenton, New Jersey, to bring cannabis awareness to the community and to well, tell us what you do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're trying to do. The Trenton cannabis community. We appreciate, you know, the bracelets, because what we're trying to do is raise money so we can create pamphlets. You know, we have pamphlets created, but to get them out, we want to talk about PTSD in inner city, not just, you know, PTSD is not just for vets. So that's one of the things. Decriminalizing is very important to us. You know, the industry and how the industry is going and who's going to be allowed in or shut out, you know, a lot of things that we're trying to kind of pulled together. We're also going to be working with NJUMR. So, yeah.
Yeah, NJUMR, the New Jersey United for Marijuana Reform. They're a great organization, very active. We're going to be getting some more literature from them to distribute. I just asked for it, and it's in the mail basically right now. It's more bumper stickers and whatnot. So they're the NAACP in New Jersey, the ACLU in New Jersey, the Municipal Prosecutors in New Jersey, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey. We're part of them.
Have either one of you, I've been put off by the length of the bill, reading through each sentence and trying to make sure I understand it. I've gone for the overview. Is there something I'm missing? Have either of you, somebody did a good job putting this tent top up. Look at that. Oh yeah, that all you got?
Wow.
Windy conditions today,
Wow.
Jim's referring to.
Hey, listen, this is the 90-second one. I got just enough play on that where it can bend, like the sapling. You know, I don't want to make it like the mighty oak it wants to take off, you know, or whatever the saying was. You know, you got to bend with it.
So I'm sorry, Jim, what was your question?
Oh, come on. You mistake me for somebody that didn't medicate fully before today's podcast. I'm a patient now.
I think you were asking, is there something in the bill?
Yeah, anything. I didn't read through the whole thing. It's a long bill, the legalization bill.
65 pages.
Yeah, and when you mentioned is how inclusive this might be, you read through this bill, you have an idea what's coming up in the next one, which is the one that'll be passed and signed into law. I mean, you know, unless there's changes made along the way. So you really need to make your case based on this one, you know. Yeah. Well, you know, I understand, like Michael Patrick Carroll has a bill that's like apparently less likely to get passed.
This is good.
But it's probably a better bill in some respects that we would rather see. Is it not possible just to support everybody's bill? Because I'd take any one of them, you know. It just seems that Scutari has what it takes to get this through. I'm just sitting here so proud of the way I set this up. It's blowing me away.
We're having wind gusts of about 20 miles an hour right now.
It's not blowing me away. You know, it's blowing me away that it's not blowing me away. So anyway, Nick Scutari, it seems like the case could be made to him, but when there's more people involved, like the people Ken was talking about, including what you're doing yourselves, you know, it can be different than this one that he's got now. If there's something that's objectionable you think's going to hold people who are more local back, I don't like the phrase so much affirmative action, but I mean giving people don't object if it's like, well, veterans get first call. Okay, and that's a good thing, and nobody would object. I think along those lines, giving people, local people, a chance to take part in what's going on in their own community, you should be first in line, not behind everybody. And how do you affect that in a bill, in writing? I guess it's something you got to consider, because if you make Nick Scutari, he's not going to be opposed to tweaking what he's got if somebody can make a good case for something that would make it better other than home grow. That's not going to happen. And it's not. I'm going to allot a total time in my life of 20 minutes explaining that to anybody in any way, shape, or form, because if I spend any more time in my life on that, I've wasted time, explaining the inevitable. It's just that I think it's important to be realistic about what we can and can't do, and function where we can have an effect. And right off, having several concerns going in the same direction is always a good thing.
Well, watching the legislative process, it's just not a pretty thing, Jim. To see what happened to our Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act as it worked its way through the legislature. It can be a brutal process. There's so many competing interests that the legislators have to take into account. I thought that I made a pretty compelling case for public use of marijuana in the new bill, in Scutari's bill. He said that public use of marijuana would not be allowed, and I pointed out how it would penalize people for being poor. Basically, homeless people have no private place to go to use marijuana, so it's still illegal for them.
Would he come back and say, well, they have nowhere to go drink either? Technically, you're not allowed to drink in public.
And people who are, in subsidized housing, for example, can get thrown out of subsidized housing. Their entire families can be thrown out of subsidized housing if they're found using marijuana in an apartment there. So, it's a cruel joke to say that they can, marijuana is legal, but you can't use it in your apartment and you can't use it outside your apartment.
That's a good point to make.
Where can you use it?
It's a good point to make, because even if you can't,
thought it would. You'd think it would be a good point.
No, it's a good point to make, even if they don't heed your wisdom, because at least you get to say, they knew this, I explained it to them. Mm-hmm. So when the repercussions start that you're talking about, I think it's important to be able to go back and hold somebody accountable for, you could have done better, I explained it to you and didn't, and you're credentialed. When Lefty explains something or I explain something to somebody, it's going to be heard different than when you do. So don't ever think it's for nothing. You're putting people on notice without saying to them as much at all. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, but even still, Senator Lesniak came right back and said the bill's not going to pass with public consumption of marijuana.
Can't we pass a separate wink wink nudge nudge bill? How do you do that? In Oklahoma, when I got there, 1981, they did not have liquor by the drink. You were not allowed to serve liquor by the drink. It was called liquor by the wink. I'd walk in and it would be a bar and it'd be a band playing and I'd be buying liquor by the drinks and being, no, when you come in the doors, you become, a temporary member of our club. And and they had this whole ridiculous explanation and nobody really bothered. So maybe we could, kind of be doing it like that, except for the housing thing. That's bothersome.
Yeah, it is bothersome. The only other thing that cities could do, of course, is after the bill passes into law and its public consumption is still illegal, then we can try to make it the lowest possible law enforcement priority for people to use that they would have to go after jaywalking offenses before they attempted to arrest people for public consumption of marijuana. Now, of course, you know, that's tough to do in New Jersey because there's 565 municipalities in New Jersey. So, you know, you walk 10 feet, you're in another city.
So basically, getting lowest priority into that many communities should be our lowest priority.
Well, it's something that you can work on.
It's so much work. I'm just saying that.
Well, the Trenton cannabis community talked about that. Didn't you talk about that?
Yeah, we did. We want cannabis decriminalized in the city, and we were still going for that. But then, you know, like it's a whole process. So, and we were also told by some people that we shouldn't pursue that because at the state level it's going to be decriminalized. So we wouldn't need to. Basically, we'd be wasting our efforts right now in doing that. So.
Well, I don't know that you're wasting your efforts. You know, you're talking to the city council, you're talking to the mayor, you're talking about the important reasons why marijuana should not be enforced. You know, decriminalization, as I pointed out earlier, means different things to different people, and it really depends on how decriminalization is enforced. You know, we certainly hope that there is going to be a statewide decriminalization, that is to say, stop arresting people for marijuana offenses when this bill is passed into law, and well before, you know, the pot shops are up and running in the state, and well before you can go and legally buy it.
Right.
You have to stop arresting people for using it. You know, that's one of the main things that I think at least one of the gubernatorial candidates has been talking about. Stopping the 24,000 arrests in New Jersey every year for marijuana offenses, 90% of them for possession alone. You know, this is a tremendous drain on police resources. It's a tremendous impact on society, and it creates second-class citizens and really damages the inner city tremendously. So, you know, it's certainly something to be pursued. I wouldn't discourage anyone from discussing it with the cities. You know, but another thing, of course, is what Asbury Park did with Randy Thompson's Help Not Handcuffs group, and they just asked the city council and the mayor to endorse legalization. And we're not saying you have to tell your police to do anything differently. We just want, as a city, to say that, you know, marijuana should be legalized, and we endorse the upcoming bill for legalization. And that's a very big political statement.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't put any pressure on them. It just helps to educate them about what's coming, and to get their support for what's coming.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's something that can be used all through the process of legalization and implementation.
Right, just a resolution endorsing legalization and urging the governor and the legislature in New Jersey to legalize marijuana because of the many medical benefits that it has and because of the harms that prohibition has caused in our society.
Yeah, I know we're at a sensitive time as well in Trenton. We have a mayoral election next year, so we're starting to get into, you know, campaign season. So that's kind of our goal too, is to not just focus on this city council, but what may be city council and the new mayor next year. So we've reached out to some mayor candidates that we believe are going to run. No one has really thrown their hat in. We have one person so far that has, but we're watching that as well to see who is going to say, yes, I'm running for mayor. And then that's our goal as Trenton Cannabis community, is to go to them and also ask them how do they feel about legalization and decriminalization. And, you know, so we have our eyes on that as well.
Great. So the mayoral election would be in November of 2018.
No, it's in actually May or June of next year.
Oh, May or June of 18. Okay, great.
May or June is going to be.
Yeah, I believe it's June. To be honest with you, I believe it's June.
I think it's June. Yeah. So well, that's interesting.
Not that far off.
No.
Not that far off. Really.
I think Ed should run. That'll win.
Let's see.
He will. He gets 5,000 votes for his Senate run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing we're looking at is our voter
That
turnout
would be
is low in Trenton. You know, just in general, I think our population is 70 or 80,000, and you only get about 10,000 people maybe voting.
Right.
So that's one of our things that the Trenton Cannabis community is also trying to do, is to get people to register to vote and then to show up, because a lot of people don't even know that there is even a governor race right now, let alone, you know, our mayor race next year, and that's going to be a big deal for our community.
Yeah, they say that the gubernatorial race is like nobody's paying attention.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Well, when the candidate you would rather have in is winning in polls at a 2-to-1 rate, just as good. Nobody does pay attention then, you know.
Yeah. And
attention is not going to help the situation.
There's not a lot of, I guess there's just not a lot of money being spent on the campaign. I mean, of course, I don't watch television anyway, so I don't see the TV ads. I understand there are some TV ads just coming out now.
You think it's hard for a sitting lieutenant governor to get funding? This is distracting.
Yeah, it looks a little dangerous, actually. I would say the wind gusts are up to above 20 miles an hour now.
Well, but this is like a wind
25,
tunnel here.
maybe 30 miles an hour. Actually.
Felt like 29 and a half.
So I see you got bricks on the. You got.
And you know, with the.
That's good work, Jim.
With the triangulation of the bungee cords here, it doesn't bend too much. And of course, he's got no bottom support on that. That's just like a blown in the wind. And you combine that with the noise of it, though, and the movement. You think it's going to go. I'm pretty confident. You know. I took really good care. And that was after medicating legally.
Legally.
Yes, I saw that. I saw your little video of the medication on State Street.
Oh, yeah. That was... Well, I was already set up. It wasn't after that much medication.
The troopers were walking by.
Yeah. We're loud. This is...
Well, yeah, right. It's legal.
Yeah. Let me ask you, though. You're not supposed to have the key in the ignition, and I have an ignitionless car.
I
mean, a keyless car, key-free. So...
Yeah, we'll have to do
I would say your
How's
key
that
is not
work?
the
Does that screw me, or does that help me?
I think the idea is that they want the car off.
Yeah,
you know, so
right.
as long as it's off.
Be off, but all I gotta do is touch that button. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't work because it's not the right button. It's the radio button. So why didn't the thing start?
I have to tell Laura what a great shirt she's wearing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you.
She's wearing one of our CMMJ T-shirts. Yeah, she got that at the.
Finally official.
It's official.
She and Jason showed up at the College of New Jersey and volunteered for several hours there and helped us raise, what did we get, $190? $190, so that was great.
Yeah. And you know, it's being out there.
Right.
You don't know who walked away with an improved opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we made a lot of references to the medicinal marijuana program. And, you know, I'm sure we got some patients, we told them what to do to register and get their loved ones registered.
It was a great turnout. Like, I was, like, pardon my voice, I'm kind of under the weather right now. But it was real nice to see how many people were, like, receptive to marijuana, just asking whatever questions they had. Like, they were just so, like, oh, my God. Like, this one lady, she had a sister, I believe, that was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and that's another lady that Ken helped out, like, with all the information. Like, it was just so miraculous to see, like, that spark. I mean, getting these people's eyes, like, once they found out how beneficial cannabis could be for their ailments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was nice. And so thanks for what you did, Jason, too. And then we, Reed Gusiora stopped by and posed for a photo with us. So that was very nice. Great. We had a couple other elected officials there and some people running for office, some of the freeholders. So it was a very good day. They combined it with Family Day. So there were not only the students, but the family of the students came too. So that was good to see. And just a beautiful day to be on campus.
Right. Family Day. It should be a family affair, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... She made saying the word marijuana legitimate in the last few years somehow.
Right.
Even though I'd rather say cannabis, I swear some of those same people wouldn't know what you're talking. I wouldn't have... Oh, is that the same thing?
Right.
Oh, but you're talking about medical marijuana. No, it's the same. It's the same thing used for medical purposes. You know.
It still just blows my mind. Like when we first came up to the community fest, the first table and stand that we saw was the big cannabis leaf. Like
It was a great location.
The coalition table was right there, like the first table, so that's the first thing you see.
A big pot leaf.
It still blended. It blended with all the other vendors. Like it was just a great sight to see. Like really.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been going there for a number of years. It's always a good time there. And so it's very good. Now we have another one coming up October 1st, but I don't know if we're going to have enough people to man the table. I can't actually be there. It's in Hillsborough, New Jersey, from noon to 6.
What's the date?
October the 1st. It's a Sunday. And
well, that's Sunday.
The Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought Jesse Nicole was going to come and get some of the material to bring up there. I can't make it. We do have one volunteer coming from Freehold, and another one coming from somewhere else. But I don't think that we have enough people to do all 6 hours. So it's only marginal whether or not we're going to be able to make that on the 1st. That's this Sunday.
Right.
What's the update on your event coming up, Jason?
Our event, we're still scheduled for the 30th this Saturday. Kickoff times 4:20 till 7:10 or 8 o'clock whenever we finish wrapping up.
Mm-hmm. In Mill Hill Park in Trenton?
Mill Hill Park. The Mill Hill Park Amphitheater is right by the bridge where you see the steps.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What? Can you say that again? A voice from the audience just shouted it.
Oh, yeah. This Saturday at 4:20 to 7:10. Mill Hill Park Amphitheater. That's at the corner of East Front and
South Broad
Street, in South Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey.
There's parking in the parking garage on Front Street. If anybody, it's free parking. But yeah, and it's a free event, so if anybody is around.
Front Street, you say?
What's the cost?
So it's the Trenton Cannabis Community.
It's free of charge, my man. Free of charge. Open to the public.
And basically, we're going to highlight more this time of what we're working on, and then, if anybody else wants to speak, it's going to be open, like that. But we're going to highlight what we're actually working on and try to get people to help us, with our causes as well.
Right, and the Trenton community, the Trenton population. If anybody from Trenton watching, we need y'all to come out. Like our activist friends, everybody, the speakers that we have coming. They already know what's going on in this industry. They know how it affects, communities like Trenton. So to learn more and, find out how you can get involved, come through Saturday, this 4:20, 7:10, Mill Park Amphitheater. Thank you. Right. Got to get this information.
Amphitheater means there's plenty of seats.
Definitely.
And parking's usually not an issue. There's usually a lot of street parking, especially on the weekends.
Yeah, it's really dead downtown.
Yeah.
So on Saturdays.
Well, then all the more reason to show up. I mean, what else is going on? What do you got to lose?
Right.
All right.
So glad to hear that you're taking this initiative and doing something in Trenton for the Trentonians. Jeff Edelstein, I'll bet you he would be interested in hearing about it.
Oh, Jeff Edelstein. Oh, yeah. That's
he's been a big supporter of marijuana reform in his Trentonian column, and now he also does a gig on 101.5.
Right.
He's also spoken out about opiates and how easily, I've read an editorial he wrote about how his young daughter was given opiates after a simple, dental procedure, and how, it really affected her.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, he's very sympathetic to drug law reform in the community, and very articulate fellow too. Not only in his Trentonian column, but also on 101.5, and I listen to him once in a while there. Oh, and so 101.5 called me the other day, and they asked me about.
They called you.
Yeah, they called me, and
you took their call.
I certainly did. And
did you tell them I'm on the air with you?
No, it was an interview. Mike Simons, he's been following the marijuana issue, and he's been on vacation for a while, but now he's back and full-blown mode. And he was wondering asking for an update on the medicinal marijuana program. And so I told him, basically the timeline for it to be, we expected the final recommendations to come out in a couple of months if the pace that was established with the initial recommendations was a guideline for what the final recommendations would be. It would take about 2 months after the end of the public comment period, which just ended Monday, September 25th.
That would be better than 6.
Yeah, and so then and I told him that after that, after the final recommendations were made, of course I just can't get over how cute your baby is.
Yeah, I know. That's happened to me before, too. To stop you in the middle of a sentence, right?
It's very distracting.
That's right.
But anyway, and then, of course, the commissioner has 6 months to determine whether or not what final recommendations will be actually added to the medicinal marijuana program. So, it looks like, 2 months after September 25th, of course, is November 25th, and then they have December, and then we have a new governor coming in and going to be elected in November, and then we'll take office in January. So it looks like this is going to happen in January, and then Mike called me back a little later, and he said, I just saw this press release from the New Jersey Hospital Association where the Department of Health Commissioner, Kathleen Bennett, has taken a new job. So she's, as of November 9th, she's going to be president and CEO of the New Jersey Hospital Association.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah,
that just happened.
So,
no,
so that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, that's just kind of, I think, just adds more evidence to the fact that.
And she's leaving when?
Well, we don't know exactly when she's leaving. We know when she's taking the new job. She may be gone already, for all we know.
Does this make Dr. Arturo Brito then acting commissioner?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure who. I think the acting commissioner has to be appointed by the governor. So he has to be appointed by someone. I mean, we don't know who it's going to be.
Well, here's a thought for the governor. After Kathleen Bennett, not Dr. Bennett, not Nurse Bennett, not Candy Striper Bennett. Lawyer, activist.
She's a lawyer with a master's degree.
Should be replaced perhaps by the one who is her deputy commissioner, who is physician doctor, not PhD doctor. So I like the idea of, how about saying sorry for the lapse, and maybe a doctor who's also familiar with what the would would entail.
Right.
Plus, we know him.
Right. And so, he would certainly be a good choice for acting commissioner. He'd be a good choice for commissioner, as far as I'm concerned.
I think.
He certainly has the credentials for it.
That's important.
So, I mean, better credentials than, a law degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I would certainly like to see the commissioner of the Department of Health not even be an appointed commissioner, not even be an appointed position, but something that doesn't change with every governor, so that the commissioner of something as important as the health of the state of New Jersey, right, doesn't, it has some kind of longevity, has some kind of continuity beyond the election.
We go through
process.
Commissioners of health too. We do. They don't last for a whole term.
Right. Yeah, we've had several commissioners already in the Department of Health.
And now
just in the Christie administration.
And this would be cause to say, well, now all the work that she's done, Dr. Brito, he ought to become, somebody just say, you know what, this was a smart panel. We're not as smart as them. We didn't do the homework they did after all that time. They considered everything. Let them serve their function. Say, we're going with what you recommended, because you weren't coming up with one vote margins. You had Dr. No, and everybody else pretty much agreed.
Yeah, you're talking about the medicinal marijuana review panel.
Yeah. So that they've done all that time, and the recommendations and the comment period and all that. What work needs to be done to check their homework? I mean, who checks their homework? A lawyer?
Right.
Even another doctor, it's like they've already done the work. The courtesy would be to say, we're going to go with your recommendations unless any of them prove to be a problem down the road, and if they do, we'll deal with that when that time comes. But for expediency's sake and for the general well-being of all the people involved now.
Yeah. Well, that would certainly be one way to handle it, Jim, and it's not typically the way the state operates.
No, but this is a public health emergency when it concerns opioid
Right.
Misdirection and
Right.
abuse, and
Yeah.
because this can be a help, which is a real point of my discontent right now. I am so tired of hearing about the $200 million for the opiate efforts and all this, and I'm reading in a paper a very heartbreaking story about a woman who finally, after 15 tries at rehab, got straight, and her daughter had been killed or something. It was a heartbreaking story, but I was stuck on, when that happened, that's when the rehab took with her. She lost her daughter. It was a violent, tragic death, and then the next rehab worked, and I'm happy for her. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. What I'm saying is 15 times. So like $200 million, how much on rehabs? How do you know good rehab from bad rehab? I mean, is it going to be a money pit? How's that working out? And all the while, not one mention of cannabis, not one anywhere. It's not all on the table. We know that. The American Medical Association knows it. The National Institute of Drug Abuse also knows it, because they stipulate, yes, there is a correlation between lowering problems with opiates and use of opiates and increasing use, medically speaking, when used as an analgesic.
Right, and
Holy
here
crap.
our expert panel approved the petition that our own board member Vanessa Walsh submitted.
So as a state,
for opioid use disorder.
As a state, we are about now, and see if I got this correct, that in with everything else, we're going to be able to treat opiate abuse disorder with cannabis in New Jersey, because this is what people find is a good thing. And yet, our governor does not mention cannabis once when talking about opiate abuse. You see, that's the problem I have, is we're going to say okay with this program, but the governor as a whole does not mention it ever. It would be good if people knew it, and I'll tell you why. I was not a patient the first time I got out of a hospital, and I had pain like I couldn't even fathom. I couldn't even relax my muscles for almost 2 weeks. It was that kind of pain. And when I used the opiates that they prescribed and used cannabis with it, it was effective for the first time, only at home. What they had did not work without the cannabis. The cannabis without that is not as effective as with both, and when I had that overriding pain, the only way was with both, and it's because I knew enough to do it. If people knew enough to do it, if the governor didn't say smoke marijuana with your opiates and you'll need less, but if he at least explained we have a medical marijuana program where this is about to be a reason for having it, a reason, in his medical program.
Yeah, it seems like they would be using every tool that it possibly can find, that put in your toolbox to solve this problem. I mean, he wants it declared a national emergency, but he doesn't want to do everything possible to help.
Yeah, and in national emergencies, you change things, you make it easier, you expedite what might take a longer time because it is an emergency. In other words, he could just say to the health department, I noticed the opiate abuse disorder, right? Is that
opiate use disorder.
Opiate use disorder.
Opioid use disorder.
Opioid use disorder. The governor could certainly suggest, why don't you go with that first? I notice now you're able to okay things. You don't have to wait till you have a decision on every one. Is that what's going to happen? Are they going to come out with a blanket announcement of here's what's in and here's what's not? That's wrong. A little at a time. So okay, we got a first wave here. Like a talent competition. Okay, here's our first 10. And you see who goes on and who doesn't. Out of those 43, I hope they don't go looking for something to not admit, because the advisory panel made good cases for everything.
Yeah, we don't know how they're going to roll it out, or when, or if it's going to happen in the Christie administration anyway. So we'll have to just wait and see.
Have all the way till the 16th. Dan, you're going to have to lower that just a little bit, I think. Calling Daniel Brady. Daniel Brady. Yeah, it's getting too much guitar through Ken's microphone. You can't play that loud sitting that close to him. You just back up, over here or something, Enjoy here. No, it's coming through the earphones pretty good. It's beautiful though. Well, this is just a fine, breezy day.
Yes, beautiful, wonderful.
I think autumn's coming in. Behind this is going to be a little cold front, and it's going to be the end of
just
our
in time
Indian
for
summer.
our event.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to the 60s.
Well, it should be more seasonally appropriate weather.
Yeah, I like that better. I mean, they're comfortable no matter what. Wear a sweatshirt. It's too hot, take it off. Get cold, put it back on. Can only go so far in the summer. As far as I'd like.
Crickets.
I'm just looking at now. I got my card. There's no patients gathered there, but I got membership in that club now.
Right, and nothing's happening.
That's it.
Yeah, well, yeah. You kicked Cindy off the show or something? Did it happen like last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened? I missed that.
Me too.
Well, watch the replay.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be.
That's what I always do.
3 hours.
In case I miss anything. Yeah, well, we're here,
Mm-hmm.
And this is 92 times. It just doesn't sound like as many as it feels like after all that. It just goes back too far. I've gotten old doing this.
So I wonder if CMM&J can help with the Thanksgiving dinner that you have planned.
I'd like that.
I'll have to check with my legal sources to see if there's any prohibition about a 501c3 feeding people.
Yeah. Or 501c3 people helping a food distribution 501c3 in Trenton,
Well, they did pass that law in Philly a couple years ago, saying like you can't feed homeless people in the park.
Oh, right, I saw that. Right,
it's insane. Blew my mind. It's front
Don't
page.
feed the people.
Don't feed the homeless. Insane.
That's wrong. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it's going to be like. It will be the 100th podcast, though, because it will be a Thursday. It'll be part of the weekly podcast. It may be way more towards the road. It may be more right out here, around here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of keeping it open. I like the idea of taking. We want to think about the logistics of it, getting some anything that.
You're going to do it on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And it's going to be more of a. Little earlier, more like 11 till 1, and we're going to be eating turkey. One thing is for certain, we are going to be eating turkey, and we're going to have way more than anybody that's going to show up can eat. So we're going to make sure we have the capabilities of people taking some with them when they go.
Who's cooking this turkey?
We don't know. I hear there's a service that shows up with turkey dinners all cooked and stuff. Gonna have to check that out and work a couple extra days or something. It's just somehow it is the last weekly podcast, and because I know what it takes, it's not going to be happening again. Not really.
Yeah.
It can happen as often as it wants to when it's necessary. I like that.
Yeah, well, it's even with the new governor, it's going to be there's going to be a time where it's important to get the word out about what we really want this bill to look like, what we want the new law to look like.
It's not going to be exactly what we want. It never is.
No, certainly not. And we know that going into it. So
yeah.
So, home cultivation is something that everyone really wants, but Senator Scutari is opposed to it right now. We're trying to get meetings with him.
Yeah.
One of our board members, Peter Rosenfeld, has offered some very compelling arguments to the senator in support of home cultivation, and he's asking for a personal meeting with him, although he's not one of the senator's constituents. So, that makes it a little more difficult to get a meeting with him.
Well, when he's authoring a bill that affects the whole state, be it a constituent or not, if it affects non-constituents exactly the same as his constituents.
Right.
So I've always felt out about heads of committees as well. That if you're not, it doesn't matter if what you're doing affects me as well as the people that are in your district. Then you should have a say. But that's why I also prefer going through constituents. If I want to get a question to a legislator, I'll ask a constituent to ask it for me.
Right.
And help them do it. Then.
So I think he's on the lookout for some constituents people who live in Linden, New Jersey, to help them to get access to the lawmakers there who are introducing the bill and to talk about home cultivation. Now, of course, if it's not possible to get home cultivation into the legalization bill, we're hoping to add it as an amendment to the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act. An expanded CUMA program would help thousands of patients in New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, here's then my question. If in the bill that Senator Scutari has out now, that's going to be the model for the next one, it will rescind the sales tax on medical marijuana. So that's coupled into the legalization bill, rescinding the sales tax on medical marijuana.
Yes.
Can it not also be then coupled into the bill to allow patients to grow their own, not your ordinary citizenry? In other words, that what patients would say is our only chance has been, since it got yanked, you, Senator Scutari, got home grow for patients out of committee. You got it voted on the full Senate floor. You wrote it into a bill. It got pulled out by the Assembly. That was wrong. You know it. We know it. But we're the ones suffering for it as patients. So now, if you're not going to let us have it as adults recreationally, at least give us back what we deserved in 2009 when you took the time to make that happen. In other words, make him stand up for his own thing. Make him say, I am sorry that you had it yanked away, and I'll prove it to you that I'm sorry you had it yanked away. I'm including it in the legalization bill. It's the only way it's going to happen for patients. It's not a standalone bill. If it was going to help them grow, would have happened. And quite frankly,
I think it would be more appropriate as an amendment to the Compassionate Use Act.
It would be, but that didn't happen last year, the year before, the year before, the year before, and it's not going to happen next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. This is like an omnibus sort of bill thing. It's sort of like not a big.
Well, but we had a very hostile governor too, who was very reluctant to add any kind of favorable amendments to the Compassionate Use Act. Yeah. Here's a governor who went on record as saying a number of times that these, medical programs were just a front for legalization. So that there was not legitimacy to them, or if there was legitimacy to them, there was very, very limited legitimacy.
It's the wrong word, being a front. But when Bob Barr had his "the next thing you know" theory, it's like it became legal medically here in 2010, although it didn't really start happening for a few years. And now here it is. We have a very good chance of it being legal in 2018. If it didn't happen medically, we wouldn't be getting it recreationally. So it wasn't like the next thing you know theory. It's just that the sky didn't fall with the medical program. That makes it easier for legalization when people see that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I also think that if the sky doesn't fall with patients having the ability to grow, that may well be, again, what leads to other people having the right as well. So,
but I think we need to convince him that it can be done in a safe and secure manner, that it will diminish the black market, not increase the black market, and it will be a good thing. It'll improve. It'll establish a consistent and reliable access to the kind of marijuana that patients need.
Still,
in an affordable manner.
Asking the senator to include it in this bill, unless, of course, he's willing to say on his word that he will be doing that as well. In other words, I'm not going to include it in the bill. However, I agree that patients should have the right, and I'm going to offer an amendment or whatever he has to do it separately But the way I think to get him to agree to move on that now is because he's going to want to say, no, I don't want to include that in legalization either. I'll do it separately. And I'd take him at his word on that. I'd back off that and say, then get this bill passed. And then get the amendment or addendum or whatever.
Yeah, two other things that we're working on are recognition of out-of-state ID cards. You know, that was in the original legislation. You know, people come from California to visit relatives here. They have their own card. Now 29 states have medical marijuana programs. In the District of Columbia, they can be coming from all over the country to pass through New Jersey. If they pass through with their medicine and they're legitimate patients, why are we arresting them?
Is our card accepted in other states?
Only a couple. Only a couple, but we should be leaders in this. We should, you know, New Jersey should be a leader in this. We should say, no, if you're a legitimate medical marijuana patient in any state, that we accept that, and we are not going to arrest you if you bring your medicine into New Jersey to visit your relatives, to go to our seashore, to go to our mountains.
Yeah. It's
pick it up, Jason. Jason, how are you?
I don't even know what states I'm allowed to travel to and what states I'm not.
Yeah,
the only one I was aware of was
nothing at the Welcome
Nevada,
Center, you know?
Las Vegas. I know I'm allowed to go there.
Yeah,
Is there any other states?
Rhode Island, I think.
I'm allowed in Rhode Island with my card? Okay. I did hear something like that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think there's only like 3 or 4 states that recognize out-of-state ID cards.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's difficult, and it puts the patient in a very awkward position. You know, are you a lawbreaker or are you not a lawbreaker?
Right.
So it's something that really needs to work out. You know, the full faith and credit clause of the Constitution really seems to indicate that states should recognize when other states.
What else do they not recognize per state? I mean, driver's age,
marriages, divorces. Prescriptions, sure.
I mean, you're allowed to have all that with you. Now, let's take driving age, for example. This is something we say you have to be a certain age, and yet I don't know what it is in Pennsylvania now, but when I got my license at 17, you could get your license in Pennsylvania at 16.
At 16,
right. And I had a 16-year-old friend in Pennsylvania who would come and we'd be riding all around. We're the same age. I could, you know... It's fine, and this is...
He could drive in New Jersey, but you couldn't drive in Pennsylvania.
It's a deadly vehicle if he messes up. It's important that we know he's doing it right, and we trust Pennsylvania, but we have an older age, you know.
Right.
So, obviously, for cannabis, it should be the same as... It's medicine.
Right, absolutely.
Where can I go to find out the other states that I'm allowed to travel to with my card?
Marijuana Pro Con, marijuanaprocon.org. It's a very good website. It's very, very thorough, very comprehensive tells you all the different conditions that each state approves. It talks about when the law passed, whether it passed through the initiative process or through the legislative process. It gives you all that information, Jason, and whether or not it recognizes out-of-state ID cards. Might be a little hard to see on a phone, but on a big computer screen, it's a little easier to read because there's so many states involved. But Marijuana Pro-Con is one of the best organizations.
Pro-Con, like
P-R-O-C-O-N, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Pro-Con.
Yeah.
So. Very good resource. NORML is a good resource. Of course, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I was just thinking about when Jim and I went down there in Washington, D.C., and I got my Peter McWilliams Award.
Yes, you did.
So that was a great organization. It is a great organization, and they continue to do great work, and they're doing even better work now. It's been around since 1970.
I worked last Sunday, but I wanted to make it out to the thing last Sunday Jesse was telling me about. Was there something you were involved with? You had a table with last Sunday?
Well, we had...
It was like a one-day thing or
something?
something?
The Trenton, the College of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we have another one coming up, trying to get people who are involved for October the 1st, Sunday in Hillsborough, New Jersey. But
Hillsborough?
Yeah.
Okay.
From 12 to 6.
My Sundays are pretty taken.
Yeah.
In perpetuity.
What was the date on that again, Ken? I'm sorry.
October 1st, this coming Sunday.
Okay.
So
I'll be at Harvest Fest.
Yeah, it's a Harvest Fest at.
Yeah, I'll be at Harvest Fest.
Where's that? Which Harvest Fest is that?
New York Harvest Fest, Dam Sam.
Oh, you're going to
Dam
Sam?
October 6th to the 8th. That weekend. You guys are gonna go or?
I can't.
No.
Unbeknownst to me, until 2 weeks ago, there was some pretty long-standing plans on the calendar. My mistake is I thought it was a week apart. You know, I thought I had 2 weekends in a row, and then when I finally checked, and more hell to pay with one than the other not attending. So it's not so much where would you have more fun, it's where will you have less fun the next day afterwards.
If you guys have any
and
information,
the day after that, and the day after
me.
that, and,
what's that, Jason?
If you have any information for me to distribute while I'm up there, like to pass out and stuff.
No, but just tell
I can
people
do
I
that.
got my card and I don't look in the rearview mirror anymore.
I mean, about the coalition or anything, like pamphlets or whatever you got. I can get that out.
Let me think about that, because it might even be something special and pertinent to right now. There's a good bunch of people from New Jersey that go there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anything that we're doing as a statewide effort.
Right.
You know, and people know you're from New Jersey, and you got something for people in New Jersey.
Yeah, it'll be all New York. People from all different.
Yeah.
People travel from all different states to come here, come there. Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Rhode Island,
You gotta think
New
that
York,
through.
New Jersey. So.
I'm getting the calendar this year, though.
Jibber Jazz is this weekend too.
What's that?
The Jibber Jazz Festival over in Pennsylvania. It's another.
I love festivals.
Cannabis-based
I love
festival.
getting out more, but you know what
It's
I
a good
always
one.
liked about Rob's festival though was the Freedom Festival part.
Yeah.
You know, I love the all sorts of live music and speakers. I mean, you know, it just goes on.
I know.
In
All
multiple
weekend
locations.
long till 5 in the morning. There's music and speakers.
Everything is really good like that. But what I like is the Freedom Festival part is that it's on private property. If you don't call in law enforcement, they're not allowed. They're not allowed. They have to be called in.
Yeah, I don't ever see any police at any of his festivals.
Because nobody calls them in.
Only time I see police is when I get back to Jersey.
One time I did. Does this place have any cell service? A lot of times the places he's at does not have cell phone service because of the mountain. This does?
It does. Some places are on the mountain are a little better than others.
That's
but
actually part of the fun of the festivals when it doesn't have cell phone services.
Well, some places don't.
Nobody has a phone for 3 days. You don't see thumbs up. And I'm telling you.
Nah, nobody's really worried about their phones out there.
I
It's
love
not like
that part better than anything. And I'll tell you, the asshole part of me couldn't resist at one point knowing how people rely on it. And I had a flip phone. It wouldn't even work for certain things. But there was the highest part of the mountain path, and I'd get up about 12 feet, and a group of people would be wandering by, and I'd come out and I'd go, okay, you're breaking up. Okay, all right, we'll get cell phone service. Yeah, isn't that something? And they'd run up a hill to get cell phones. And, you know, okay, that's wrong to do, and I shouldn't take pleasure in that. But it's sort of like in education, too. It's like then you rely on your phone too much. And the look on my friend Brian's face when he had 2 kids with him, 16 and maybe 18, and one couldn't find the other, and he says, what do I do? Well, I don't know. What do you think you should do? It's like he couldn't believe how put off his kids were. There's no cell phone service. What am I going to do? How do I find him? He's like, well, you know, you could walk around and everybody that you know that knows him, say if you see him, tell him I'm walking this way, and then don't go in circles in different directions.
Well, it has. I mean, cell phones certainly have made finding people easier.
Everything. Yeah. Just.
But the other thing we were talking about besides the recognition of out-of-state ID cards, of course, is descheduling. We're rescheduling marijuana. You know, right now New Jersey still considers marijuana a Schedule I drug with no accepted medical uses, and so we brought this up, and this is an important thing that we think needs to be included in the legalization bill to hopefully deschedule it in New Jersey, to say it's not a scheduled drug at all.
It has to be taken out of the hands of Division of Consumer Affairs.
Especially if we're legalizing it, you know, it's just not appropriate to have it listed with heroin and LSD and
yeah, and saying that there's no recognized medical use.
Yeah, just absurd. When we've recognized medical uses for almost 8 years now.
Yeah, and there's such a conflict that a conflict like that can exist for 8 years. Where
an absurd situation.
The state says it's medical and the state says it's not medical. The same state says two separate things. That's you can't do that.
So, Lefty, you're stumbling around here.
He stumbled
and
over Harry. Tripped on a ball.
So your T-shirts, Lefty, you have the I think I want to break down and buy one of your "Don't Shoot I'm White" T-shirts.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it's a new day for me. Do you have it in large?
Sure do. For you, anything.
Yeah. All right, great. So. Not quite sure. Not sure where I'm going to wear it, awesome. but I do want to buy one. I want to support your effort.
Thank you.
That's when the conversation started.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, it definitely.
Walmart, love.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you wore it in Walmart, Jim.
Yeah, well, mine says "Don't shoot, I'm running away."
Don't shoot, I'm running away. Yeah.
Lots of thumbs up.
So.
Don't shoot, I would be running away if I could run. Do you have one of them?
I'm limping away.
Don't shoot, I'm disabled.
I'm limping in the opposite direction. You know. It's amazing.
Trying to fix the camera angle here.
How many different "Don't Shoot" shirts do you have? About a dozen or something?
We got "Don't Shoot, I'm Haitian." "Don't Shoot, I'm Black." "Don't Shoot, I'm a Veteran," which is a popular one.
Mm-hmm.
Veterans love that one. I can't wear that one. I would love to wear that one, but I won't. It's stolen valor. Even though it's just, a shirt like that, but that's still stolen valor, and yeah. I'm a drug war veteran.
Yeah, drug war
Doesn't
veteran.
our president have a medal from a veteran that he shouldn't be wearing? Shouldn't have?
What? No.
Didn't he take a Purple Cross from someone when he was... Somebody handed him a Purple Cross, and he had said it was a great honor to accept it from them?
He took it?
When he was campaigning?
And he took it?
Our president, yeah.
Oh. Wow.
The conversation just turned down this way.
Yeah, it did take a turn.
I was looking at the map and I looked up. I didn't know what road was. I do know what you're talking about, though.
Wasn't my fault.
Yeah. So I've been watching the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary series on PBS.
Been watching that?
All 9 episodes so far. The last one comes on tonight, episode 10, Aftermath. So this episode 9 was the 1971 demonstrations in Washington, D.C., where 12,000 people were arrested. And more people were arrested in Washington, D.C. that day than any other day in the history of the country. And I was there. I was there with the Vietnam Veterans Against the War and supporting them and their efforts. And they were throwing their medals back over the White House gate to protest the war in Vietnam. So,
well, having been well alive in that time and it being an issue in my life, you got to have the context of what it was like then.
Jim Ross. 2 patients leaving.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man.
A lot of patients here.
Portion.
I'm sorry, I don't want to change the subject, but you were speaking on opiates earlier and the addiction.
Yes.
You're all familiar with Jay Lassiter?
Yeah, sure.
He posted this morning that it is 14 years of his sobriety.
Wow.
No more shooting in meth or anything like that, and congratulate him on that.
Nice, 14 years.
Another person who's also very much involved in trying to help get this mess straightened out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Jay was on the board of CMMNJ for a while.
He was one of the first patients.
And he was one of the first patients in the state of New Jersey to get his card.
He was in the first couple.
Yeah.
He's got doing a podcast off, actually 101.5 on opiates, a whole series of them.
Oh, really?
Very interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
Very good. I think he's up to number 5 now.
He's really good.
I think his drug of choice was methamphetamine, he said. But,
yes, that's true.
He may have also had an opiate addiction as well. And what are you doing with that, Jim? You're also involved with that?
I'm sorry?
You're also involved with that, or?
No, pretty much I come here because I can.
Mm-hmm.
I've been off of all my opiates for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before I could get on the program, I weaned myself off and was using, you could call it cannabis, I guess, at the time. But yeah, I haven't touched anything in over 5 years, thanks to cannabis itself.
Mm-hmm. And so now you're in the medical marijuana program, and you use it and it helps you with your pain management. And
absolutely, I'm still in pain, but who cares?
How do you explain
it makes it
that?
bearable
No,
to
that's
the point
great.
where I can function, and I can go do my Walmart and do what I have to do. I can make it to here and back and walk down to my car a block and a half away without being in agony.
Yeah. Well,
it absolutely helps.
It really is a very good observation, Jim. Because when you have euphoria, it creates a sense of euphoria, the marijuana high. So okay, I'm in pain, but I'm also euphoric.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm in pain, but how much pain? It's it's not that bad, and it's bearable.
And it takes away the anxiety of the pain. Like how long is this pain going to last? Is this pain ever going to go away? And we lost our camera here.
Harry Enslinger fell on the ground. Poor Harry. Oh, Harry, you racist. Harry the racist just fell.
So taking...
I'll take care of him. Hold on.
Take care of him.
He's a mess.
Yeah, but taking the anxiety issue away from the pain is very important.
Just the stress of being allowed to use cannabis and not have to worry about getting arrested for smoking a joint,
Yeah, I found it very interesting as a nurse in the ICUs when, the nurses, we would have to give pain medicine all the time, and but when they had a thing that they called patient-controlled analgesia, a patient could press a button and get immediate analgesia. They found that those patients used a lot less analgesics than when they waited for the nurse to come around, because they were never quite sure when the nurse was coming around, when it was going to be effective. But if they knew that anytime they wanted it, they could just press a button and get it, they didn't use that much because the anxiety
The
was
surgeries
gone.
I did have on my lower back, they had me that button, the morphine button.
What stops them from pressing it too much?
And I refused it. I didn't want it. Couldn't do it. I don't like that being out of control.
Yeah.
Okay, if they don't have what stops a patient? Because when I was in the hospital and I had a button I could push, it would have a green light on it. It would go red when it was done, and it would be 10 minutes later, and I'd be like watching the clock, counting the minutes, and it'd be like a mutant race car start, and all of a sudden, finally!
Some people enjoy the meds.
I wasn't getting anywhere near enough pain relief that it touched this incredible pain that I was having. So that was my suggestion, that I needed it more often than every 10 minutes or more of it. And you know how nice people are when they're in pain. That was me. So I'm quite sympathetic to people that have pain that escalates as opposed to gets better. My sentence with pain is it's going to get less as time goes on, and when it gets most painful, walking, and when you walk on it, it'll go away with each step. It'll start to loosen up, irrespective of pain relief taken for smoking or having pills. And that's a lot better than somebody else that gets up, and the more you move, the more it hurts. I don't know how people deal with that. I really don't. So hope is don't underestimate the power of hope when somebody's recouping.
Yeah, and having a foot injury is a particularly painful area of the body to
and
be
then
injured,
and then both of them, so one can't help the other out.
Right. He broke both bones in both your feet?
Oh, yeah. 2 feet up for 7 months. That can be awkward at certain times. So, but not now. Now I haven't broken any laws.
What a good feeling, huh, Jim?
This week.
Yeah.
Taste of freedom.
I'm pretty sure I haven't.
That's most unusual for you.
Yeah, I know. If you counted down the days that were and weren't,
47 years of law breaking for you.
Yes. I took a 6-month sabbatical at one time by choice, and not a damn thing got better.
And what?
Not a damn thing got better
Your
in my life.
tolerance, that was it.
I mean, the rest of my life it was okay. I'm not going to have any, and I wanted to know the difference, and there's like a wasted 6 months of my life. I could have been having a better time.
I did the same thing. I know.
I mean, by design, and I will always remember.
What a waste of time.
I remember coming back.
Don't be a quitter.
Don't be a quitter.
Amy, nice to see you.
Hi, Amy.
Nice to see you as well. Congrats on Jim on getting your car.
I know. What about that, huh?
So exciting. I watched that video and you were just like,
yeah.
So chill.
Yeah.
Because you were legal.
It's like, I watched that video myself to see how it looked, and I realized as I see the lattice that I built on top of the railing of the deck was so people couldn't see me doing this as well, and then I planted things that would grow in above the 6-foot fence. In other words, I'm blocking out the neighbors with shrubbery and lattice. And I felt like I could take that lattice back down now. I mean, things have grown it a little better anyway, but even in the wintertime, that's right, what's up, neighbor? Legal. Should be like some sort of sign, legal cannabis patient lives here, nothing to see here, nothing to see here.
Yeah, you have to be careful anyway. I don't think it's right to flaunt it.
You
may subject yourself to other things, break-ins, for example. Someone says, aha, here's a man with a supply of marijuana in his house, obviously, he's right for a break-in. There's other problems besides police that maybe I'm more sensitive to that living in a inner city like Trenton.
No, I actually don't particularly flaunt it. Sometimes, though, the wind inadvertently helps you flaunt it, where it changes directions and somebody catches a whiff, and, maybe just an armband,
So, Amy, how did it feel when you first got your card? Was it like a kid in a candy store for you?
Yeah, it was liberating.
Yeah. A little taste of freedom?
It really was. Well, because my husband is a physician, I was never going to break the law. I just wasn't.
Right.
So it was only at that time that I started medicating that I was able to go off of my pharmaceuticals, my Ambien, my Flexerol.
Ugh.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
I hate that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And yes, it is. And actually, I was at one of the dispensaries this week, and I filled. I got 8s of 8 different things. It was so much fun. I haven't even actually used them all yet. I like to use them and evaluate and be able to recommend them for people as needed, like ICBD.
Yes, I like that. I like how you said CBD in the morning, and then THC,
in the afternoon,
after.
And then an indica at night. That's my recipe. That works for me.
I like that.
And hybrids are really important in there as well, because it reduces, for me, it reduces the psychoactive part, and it's still getting the best of all of it.
Mm-hmm. So you use it about 3 times a day?
12.
Depending. I lost count.
Okay, so every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it was very important for me to get my CBD in, which, of course, it does not have the psychoactive part, so it's very functionable. I can drive, I can speak, and it really works on my body. And if I didn't medicate, sometimes I'll go a whole day without medicating, but then it catches up with me, and it's very important to, if I go more than this, by this end of a second day, my body's screaming at me. Please, please. So I try to medicate in advance so that I don't get to that point.
But it's amazing that it replaced so many drugs for you.
Oh, absolutely.
The Flexeril, the Ambien,
it's
other pain medicine.
It's like miraculous that I can sleep. And I make my own edibles, and then I make the oil, and I infuse them. And so what I do is eat, like at 10 o'clock at night, I'll have part an edible. I make pumpkin bread, banana bread, and I put it in my freezer and I dose it, section it. So I just go in, grab it 10 o'clock, and then if I am still up at midnight, then I would have another piece. So the 10 o'clock allows me to fall asleep. The midnight allows me to stay asleep for 6 hours till 6 o'clock. Lately, for some reason, I've been vaporizing at night, and I'm finding that I'm able to sleep with just the vaporization. The only thing is I have to do it very heavily, but once I do it, I go to sleep. And I wake up once and go right back. So it's working. It's working. You have to try so many different things to see what is best for you.
Right, and everybody's an individual, and everybody responds a little differently to the different cannabinoid content. So, some people, indicas do not put them to sleep,
Correct.
So,
yes.
It's an individualized thing, and it does take some experimentation to find out what's right for you.
Yes.
But the good thing is that you're not going to hurt yourself when you experiment.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Interesting, when I was working at the dispensary at Breakwater, I was coaching and bud tending and reception. I sort of did everything, and I met a patient who needed to sleep, and I gave them all of these, and then she said those didn't work. They kept me awake, but my AK daytime 487 made me sleepy. So she had the complete reverse response, and then we knew, and so she was able to work it through where it was very successful.
Do you write down anything, like keep a journal of any sort to help you remember, or just this just works like? Because there's so many. If you have 8 different kinds to try, I become confused sometimes which was which. So I haven't actually started writing things down, only because my initial disappointment was in trying one thing, and it led to me doing dishes, And I don't mean just doing dishes.
You don't want to do that.
Whole kitchen was cleaned, wiped down. I was like, I couldn't stop myself. It was fun, and I was in the moment. But where does that go in the journal? It makes you want to do dishes. Watch out for it.
Sure. So when you have
good to have after dinner
energy.
when you have dishes.
A lot of energy that day.
I did that last night.
Well, another time it was weeding, and now that I had driveway, apparently stuff grows over the edge of an asphalt driveway to the point where it's taken away 6 inches on each side, and I was having enough of that, So next, again, it was my thing is I have to know what it is I want to be doing right after medicating, and be ready to do it. I mean, really ready to do it. Because if it's like, oh wait, I think I wanted to get my other shoes, that's it. I'm going to get sidetracked. So I know my own playing field. I'm not an optimum subject for keeping a journal, really. But
I absolutely keep track of everything. I've only been to 2 dispensaries, so obviously the one where I work, Breakwater, and I evaluate them and reevaluate them and keep notes, and I know what they do, and I know what I'm going to recommend, based on them. And I've experienced them all numerous times. I have recently been to Garden State, and I actually this week was my 3rd time there. So there were a few that I liked that I wanted to work with again, and that's where I tried all these different ones, and I'm having a ball with it.
How does that work out when you're going to one dispensary and you want to try another? Do you have to register with them? Because you have to, when I joined the program, you got to pick a dispensary. So I did.
Yes, but you can change dispensaries at any time.
Can you use two at the same time, back and forth?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. As long as it's within your recommendation,
Yeah.
it goes right into the state site, and it gets
Yeah.
changed on the state site. Most people can do it on their own very easily.
So
That was a courtesy we did to patients at Breakwater. We would change them all the time. Anytime we had to check the prescription as well, because you don't want people coming in if they've used it up, because you know how far they travel.
Yeah.
We had to turn people away who their I call it a prescription even though it's a recommendation.
Yeah.
I want to call it a prescription.
But they
though.
can find out, they would probably, you think they just weren't aware that they've had their 2-ounce allotment already and they were...
Some people are just not interested in keeping track. It's just their thing. Oh, there you go.
Well, once they said, there's a way you can check any time you want, and I don't keep track, I'll just check,
Sure, yeah.
Of course, I say that, but I am very good with numbers. And
so you have to go to the Department of Health website and put your...
you go under patient 30, 60, 90 days. You put your card number in, and it takes you right to your personal site.
And that's where you can also change your dispensary.
Correct. And you can change it 5 times a day, 10 times a day,
Oh,
back
really?
and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No problem.
Well,
because you can't, since it's all the same site, you can't purchase one place thinking, oh, I can go to the next one and, no, it's your allotment.
Why is Michelle having a problem renewing her card? She's having a problem because of her name change.
Oh.
And she's going through a hard time.
That's a nightmare.
She can't get a card now. She has no cards.
I've heard that. Other people have been involved with that problem, too.
Don't change your name.
Well, she got divorced, and she doesn't want to keep her divorced name. She wants to go back to her original name, and she can't.
No, she can't. She's really having issues.
She's been...
because she needs the new name on forms of ID from her home, from her residence.
Right.
Hoops to jump through for patients.
Right.
More hoops.
Hoops. Major
So
hoops.
if you're going to do that, then you want to have a supply ready so that it's not going to interfere while the time that it takes to affect that change, you're not running out of medicine, is what I'm trying to say. It may take I don't know. It may take the state 30 days to do it. How long do you think it would take for them?
They give you, if I recall, they give you a notice 60 days before that and then you start the process. Because of course you have to go back to the doctor and you have to do it as though you're signing up for the first time. The only part that's easier is that you've done it already and you understood that you pretty much know the qualifications and the papers that you need to bring along, proof of residency and birthday and the picture. So the fact that she already had a card somehow to me would should make it easier, even with because the address is still the same and it's a renewal. She's already been, you don't have to be vetted, but
It's essentially that's what it is.
She's very stressed because she can't buy cannabis, and she's stressed because she's using cannabis and she could get arrested now.
And
she's afraid.
Not everyone has the money to stock up. And when in my 2-ounce allotment, I use 1 ounce right away to make my
Edibles.
oil.
Yeah.
And so I'm already down. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a cash outlay, so.
Yeah, well, we're going to change that.
Maybe we'd like to get you on CMMNJ TV to talk to you about all this.
Sure.
I think we have a opening on Tuesday actually from 10 to 2 if you're available.
I will check my schedule.
All right, great.
There you go.
Thank you back to
Perfect guest.
Yeah.
That is the perfect guest for you guys.
Great.
Yeah, really.
Awesome. This Sunday, I'm sitting on a panel in Brooklyn. It's a breast cancer fundraiser / cannabis awareness. It's in Brooklyn. I can put it. I've put it on the website a few times. I'll send some, individual. So I'm sitting as a panelist, talking about dispensaries and my experience there, and then where it really took me. That was kind of one of my. I've been doing this for 4 years. researching, reading studies, learning everything I possibly can. And one of my learning experiences was working in a dispensary.
All right.
So that I can see that whole aspect of the field.
Amazing. What's amazing to me is that you did wheelchair ramp designing. Is that something you did, or interior designing for wheelchairs?
Well, I was a commercial space planner in New York City for 14 years, my first career, and it was in the 1980s, and that was a time when accessibility, wheelchair accessibility was huge. It was just becoming laws everywhere. I noticed they have them all around the State Department here, not in Bayonne, no. And so Lefty's working on that.
Look across the street here. We have to go across the street, except I have friends across the street, but if you look, there's all steps. I just bought a sandwich, and the place has 6 steps going down. There's no ramp. I just talked to one of the owners, one of the managers from the sandwich place about wheelchair access. And he says he was following somebody in a wheelchair, and he was waiting for this person to stop in front of his store. And he was going to ask this person, do you want something from the store? I'll go get it for you. But they didn't stop. They kept going. Because
if they don't see a ramp, they
just keep going.
Well, is right up here you're talking about?
Yeah.
There's no way to get a ramp down there. It's just not. I mean, there's structurally no way to do it.
And they're historic buildings, so you can't change the structure of these buildings.
To change the structure of the building, even if you could, would be so monumental. It's when I went with Cheryl to the White Dog Cafe in Philadelphia. Perfect example. Pretty much like getting up into one of these buildings here. And they had 4 people ready to, at my instruction, carry the wheelchair with her up in it. And, a lot of people, I don't want to get carried up. Then you don't get to go. I don't know. It never felt like we were being left out or had a gripe or anything. I was glad they were going to help her get in, and she didn't mind and I didn't mind, but I understand some people would. But at some point, it's like, if it's going to cost $500,000 to fix a $300,000 building with a ramp to get somebody in, But when I saw in Bayonne, you're talking about a 6-inch impediment that would have a portable solution on hand. That's doable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to do this.
Absolutely.
That isn't asking 500,000, 1,000,
$100.
Yeah. There are portable ramps that we've seen.
Yeah.
But they're low, so just a few inches.
Yeah.
And it's aluminum.
Aluminum.
Mm-hmm. So it's lightweight.
Yes.
And they get placed down. They get placed down next to the step But the thing is, I think people don't know about them unless they've seen it one time before.
Yeah.
Because it's not permanent; it's temporary. So maybe they need to advertise that, put a little sign, wheelchair access, text us or something if you need, because how is somebody supposed to know? So that's something that needs to be worked through.
People didn't know about this till we started this wheelchair war. They're like, I never thought about it till I saw your video of you harassing that guy. Like, I wasn't harassing him. I got assaulted.
Now you're harassing the person that said you're harassing.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I want to thank CMMNJ for getting the law passed so that we can smoke cannabis. We all have patients here. We have how many patients here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Plus 1.
It's ridiculous. Plus 1.
Yeah. It's like we always claim. They're all patients. The group standing across the street, they're all patients. Well, the ones facing this way. But, there's no law against somebody who's not a patient coalescing with a patient while they medicate. In their car, outside their car, anything. I am not an animal. I will be with my friends while I medicate.
And you don't get it through osmosis, so
well.
No worries about getting high.
No.
And CBD is always a great option. High CBD.
I need that.
But mixed with THC. I'm not saying pure. I don't. That's not my belief. I think it works much better with THC.
Well, I've heard I've heard about parents of children who use it for epilepsy, that you have to have that part THC or it isn't going to work. And it might be a 20-to-1 ratio, but without the 1, it doesn't have that desired effect. And I imagine it could be more or less with different things. I like the idea of getting a very high CBD strain of cannabis and just mixing it in with whatever else I'm having. Maybe
recommendation is to start with the CBD. I'm sorry for interrupting, but start with the CBD and let that start to work, and then complement it with a high THC. 20 minutes later, half an hour later. So then you're getting the benefits of all of them.
I get to experiment legally.
Especially if you do like the psychoactive high, because what high CBD does is squash it, so you don't want to do it in reverse.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. You need the CBD if you need to actually come down from being too high.
Oh, well, there's been a couple times when I would have liked to have come down a little bit. Usually spur of the moment as I'm about to answer a question, and I want it to come out just right, where my safety hangs.
Yeah, I don't suspect that's a problem for you, but more newbies don't realize that what they're if they intake too much.
Yeah.
So that's the recommendation for that.
I know one thing. I drove up this morning. It's my car right at the end of the walkway here, and I pulled up and decided I don't mind parking right behind a state trooper.
Nice.
Nothing to see here. Well, I mean, it's the same positioning. I would have been parked back there another week. Today I'm taking that spot. That's good. Strategic parking. I take that spot. I stay back so nobody else can fit in between me and the crosswalk till you get here. You get that stuff right after 92 times.
Can I make a quick phone call? Would you mind? Before we go.
I'm just stunned that you would ever even ask.
It's real quick.
Or say anything about it.
It'll take me 2 seconds. It's important.
Who would it be? I know when you're not going to tell me this is one of these times. But I ask anyway.
Hold on. It's these guys.
Consumer Affairs. To continue in English, press 1. Usted se ha puesto en contacto con el... To obtain information about renewing or applying for a professional...
I like how Jim walks away when I make a phone call.
No, this has been hurting my ears. That's the first I've taken it
visit our
off.
website at njconsumeraffairs.gov.
Well, I only do it because I know I'm not going to
Please
take
note
part.
that consumer complaints cannot be taken over the phone, and a written form must be submitted.
Okay.
If you are calling in regards to the Palmco Energy
Calling the
settlement,
Division of
please
Consumer
press
Affairs.
now.
Yeah.
If you are calling for information regarding the new SafeCare camera,
Maybe all you got to do is ask, right?
No.
Maybe you didn't ask
We don't want that.
Question,
correctly.
information about a professional license,
No.
registration,
No.
certificate.
I think it's number 8.
Press 1.
Radio voice activate. Sharon Joyce. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Sharon Joyce. You're the best. You're the best.
Consumer Affairs. My name is Ethel. May I help you?
Yes. Hi, you're on the air. This is Lefty Grimes. Can I speak to Sharon Joyce, please?
Okay, that's the acting director.
Yes.
And the best I can do is get you to the assistant in her office.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, and your name again is?
Lefty Grimes.
And what is it in reference to?
I'm an award-winning journalist, and my question for her is, what about scheduling for cannabis? Is it scheduled or is it non-scheduled in New Jersey? As far as I know, it's not
No,
scheduled.
I just need to know, okay, what you were calling.
Yeah.
So you are listening, you want to speak with her about the cannabis. All right, hold on a second.
Thank you. It's not scheduled. Can't be. Can't be, Ken. How can it be scheduled if you have a cannabis law and then the scheduling says we don't have a cannabis law? And I'm sorry.
I need clarification on this.
Yeah, I mean it's very confusing, Ken. I'm so confused.
I truly am.
Well, it is confusing, but it's also the law. The law is that marijuana is a Schedule I drug in the state of New Jersey.
Meaning it has no medical value.
Meaning it has no accepted medical uses in the United States, that it's unsafe for use even under medical supervision, and then it has a high potential for abuse. So this in the face of marijuana also being recognized by the Department of Health as having medical uses. So it's a conflict. It's two different things at the same time, believing two different things at the same time, the opposite.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a problem with that.
But it's the director of the Division of Consumer.
No one is answering her line. Her voicemail is coming. Let me see if I can reach someone else there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
She's very helpful. No, we're not going to get her. What's her name? Julie. I can't say it.
Julie.
That's her name, Julie?
The other.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing we need to address.
Yes.
Today. Also, I'd love to talk about yesterday's New Jersey Business Association.
Okay, no one has answered. I could get you to someone in the press office and they could possibly...
Sure. Yeah.
Okay?
That'd be
Hold
great.
on.
Thank you.
All right. Mm-hmm.
All right, press office. We're going to get the press office. That might help. I'm sure they know everything. Just give me somebody smarter. That's all. Somebody smarter. They don't like when I say that. Can I speak to someone smarter, please? How do you answer that question? Do you
All
just...
right. Hello?
Yes, hi. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hi, you're on the air. This is Lefty Grimes. Is this the press office? Hello?
We're on the air?
Yeah, I'm doing a podcast, and we have a question about the scheduling of cannabis, if it's scheduled or not, because we have people, there's people that think that the cannabis is legal, and they're running around the street saying, I am the law, and they're smoking weed. Oh, jeez.
Really?
Really? Why would you hang up on me? That's a serious question. People are being arrested. Let me ask them a call back. This is your tax money.
Wait, Lefty. Amy had something she wanted to talk about, the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association.
Okay.
And they had an event yesterday, Amy?
They did. I didn't attend, but I saw enough footage to get an idea of, of what was going on, and it was a huge crowd. I was overwhelmed by, how many people I saw there. And it sounded like it looked like they broke out into sessions at one point, and some people had very valid questions, interested in opening up dispensaries in New Jersey and other aspects of the business. And it seemed like overall, it's from what I saw, a hugely successful event.
Yeah, I was invited to one of the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association events. I believe that was in Kenilworth.
Yes, same place.
At the country club there, Galloping Hills Country Club, lovely place. And Dr. Medvedovsky gave a presentation there about medical cannabis, the program, and there were some other presentations about, what it would take to get a license, and what kind of buildings that they were looking for that would be most likely to be approved. For example, unused bank buildings, because would be a good place to start a medical marijuana dispensary or a legalized marijuana dispensary. So, there's different. A lot of good information comes from these, but it's mostly, I think, for the entrepreneurs, people who really want to get involved in the business side of it. New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. It's going to be a big industry here in New Jersey, and a lot of people are interested in it.
Yes, it's going to be a huge industry, and jobs opening up like crazy. It's a whole new world, and everyone is trying to situate themselves one way or another. There's so much opportunity on any level, and as Leo says, and you don't even have to touch the plant.
Yeah. Who said that?
Leo Bridgewater.
Oh,
that's one of his,
one of his lines.
I was hoping to see him here today, actually.
Right.
I'm hoping he comes on Sunday. I hope everybody who can possibly work their way over to Brooklyn.
I'm
from New York, so it's
Rebel-Minded Society.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I seen the flyer. I seen the flyer going out around. Good stuff.
Yep. there'll be a doctor talking about the endocannabinoid system.
Excellent.
Since we all have one in us, and the marijuana, the cannabis, just activates what's naturally in our body. That's what I do with the strains. I figure out which ones it's actually activating, in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. I heard Dr. Medavosky speak maybe a year or two ago. He was down near Atlantic City, and so I made a point to go down there. And I have a friend who lives there, so I was able to stay over, because I'm way up in the north. I'm actually a stone's throw from Kenilworth. And ironically, I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did hear him speak, and he's really, one of the forefront for.
He's in the forefront of the movement, for sure.
Yeah, medical doctors. Marijuana doctors.
Yeah, so few physicians are even aware of the endocannabinoid system. They weren't taught about it in medical school. The pharmaceutical industry doesn't pay them to learn about it. And and they're specialists, and so they think no reason to learn about it. Except for the fact that, here is a system fairly newly discovered in the human body that affects all the other systems in the human body.
Yes, yes. I believe they are they will be starting to have information on it in medical school.
Yeah, some of the medical schools do. I think a couple of years ago, there was only about 12% of the med schools in the country even mentioned it in any of the, let alone had curriculum in it. But now some of the universities are starting to have, some of the universities are actually offering majors in cannabinoid studies. So,
nice.
So that's good that it's finally becoming recognized as a legitimate field of study in the colleges and universities across the country. So, Chris Goldstein, our own Chris Goldstein, who was also a board member of CMM&J at one time, he's offering a course at Temple University. I believe it's marijuana in the media. So.
Oh. Marijuana in the media.
Or you can come here and do it for free. So I'm on hold with these guys. They just put me on the carousel. So yeah, we're done. They're actually in Newark. Their office is in Newark, so I'm going to pay them a visit. So.
Yeah, I went up there. I met with the director of the Division of Consumer Affairs.
Which one, Lee?
Calcagney.
Cagney?
Okay. Tom Calcagney, I think around 2011. And, he's not there anymore, but he was surprised to find that he could reschedule marijuana. But it's in the law. It definitely says that the director of the Division of Consumer Affairs has the power to reschedule any drug in that's recognized as a drug in this state. So
it's unscheduled right now. Then.
No, it's a scheduled drug. Why do you?
Can't be.
Don't tell me it can't be. It's scheduled.
You're allowed to smoke weed in New Jersey now. It's legal.
No.
I am the law.
Lefty, when you said that, that's probably why she hung up on you, because you're saying things that are just absurd.
Yeah.
And then people aren't taking you seriously when you come with that approach.
Wait till I go visit them. I'll visit.
Yeah. Okay. But if you can use the same absurd approach in person, and they're not going to pay attention to you. The point. Of course, I use them a very reasonable approach, and they didn't pay attention.
Work, so that's what I'm saying. I'm going to use their absurdity against them. So it doesn't matter what we do at this point. It's absurdity. The whole thing is absurd. That's why I'm absurd. They made me this way, Ken. They've done this to me. I'm sorry. But I want to thank CMM&J for getting cannabis legal for everyone at this table except for you. How come you don't got a card? You need a card.
Because I'm a part of the majority that's poor and can't really afford the program. So, it's medicine, and it's my medicine. I don't need validation from anyone, really.
Listen to this.
This is my medicine, and I medicate. So
you don't need the government telling you it's okay to make yourself feel better.
Yeah,
you don't need a card.
I'm in this for the people, not even myself, really, because I am going to smoke regardless. Like all these laws that we fighting for, the decrim, the legalization, the fight is going to be never ending. Like, it's going to be a never ending fight, no matter how many bills, no matter how many times they change it.
She's like, don't say that.
Don't say that.
They don't want to free the plant. They're taking all this time and doing all this running around so they could best make it work for them. But we the people, we want our medicine, and we want to take our medicine regardless. So I mean,
yep.
And we don't want to have to travel an hour, and we don't want to have to pay $460
Ouch.
an ounce.
Ow, when you're poor? Ow.
Every month.
That hurts.
But then also, like, there's really people who don't want a dispensary in their city, in their neighborhood, in their community, period.
Because they're unaware of what they are like. So if they visited the ones that are in...
I mean, because really all the old stigmas that still apply to marijuana, you know, we don't like to use the word marijuana because marijuana is a racist term. Like, we prefer to use the term cannabis. But there's still, like, all these old stigmas that's applied to it. Like, it's ridiculous. And I don't, who says it all the time? I think Leo, yeah, once again, to quote Leo again, a lot of old people have to die. You know, like, or not die, but get out the way, because
no, he said die.
Yeah,
he wants them to die.
And then he also cleaned it up with just get out the way, because like even with all the new information, all the research that's coming through, people still don't want to. I mean, accept it for what it is.
No.
Like, it's
I actually
sickening.
don't think it's an age thing completely. But I know so many young people
Really?
in their 20s, because I have two.
All right.
So I'm intimately, involved with that decade.
Right.
And they're not so interested in it.
Wow.
I know, it amazes.
But they're not opposed to it. I mean, it's
not 100%, but
I mean,
maybe a little bit.
79% of the young people do support marijuana legalization.
Absolutely.
So it's
absolutely
maybe 2 out of 10 or approximately do not. So but
But
they may not be. It may not be an important issue for them.
It still amazes me, though.
Mm-hmm.
And they've seen my transformation,
Mm-hmm.
and so they have gotten more comfortable. But I'm amazed that
I'd be surprised to find any opposed to it. I mean, you'd think that, that people would be, freed from many of the fears that their parents were brought up with, for decades. Now there's you can test information. The internet makes it possible to say, well, what do you mean marijuana is a gateway drug? Let me look that up.
Right.
And when they look that up, they find out no, it's an exit drug. It's not a gateway drug. So it's a lot easier now for young people to validate the information that they hear from government sources and others.
Yes.
So
yes, I've sent them articles and studies on and on and on, so that they can. It's important for me, for my own family, to really understand.
That's great, Amy. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. What we got up next, Lefty?
I'm about done here, isn't it, Michelle? It's time to call Michelle.
Yeah, we're gonna have Honeybee calling
Honeybee,
from
right,
Oregon.
sorry.
She's sleeping in a pot field right now. We gotta wake her up.
Yes, of course.
What a life she has.
Where else would she be?
Yeah, she falls asleep in the middle of a field. I love it. Great. Covered with hash. She just scrapes off herself and just smokes it now. It's a wonderful life she's living. But yeah, CMMNJ, thank you guys. You're the best. And thank you for buying a shirt, Ken Wolski. Yes. That's amazing.
And Ken, I'd love if you came up north.
Oh, all right. Well,
That's my.
let me know you about Tuesday and we can talk more about it.
You bet.
SativaCross.com, JacksonStorms.com, NewJerseyWeedman.com. Whoop, stop right there. Weedman sits in jail 6 months while a pedophile cop, or porn, he had kiddie porn. The cop had kiddie porn on his computer, and they let him out in a day, in a couple of hours, but Weedman sits in jail. Why is the Weedman in jail? And the cop with kiddie porn is out, and Weedman's in jail. So you're telling me Weedman is more dangerous than a cop with kiddie porn? Really? You're on the air with Sativa Cross. You're on the air. Oh, shit.
Hello.
Yay, Honeybee, how are you?
Honeybee.
I'm awake now. Thank you.
That's great.
And the answer is 4.
Oh, 4 plants? You're only allowed 4 plants? What?
Per household, yes. Not per person, per household.
Oh, damn.
Wow. They could be big, though, right?
Yes.
You can have trees. 4 trees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well,
You can get a
I
lot
thought you
from
were
4
Yes.
trees.
yes. What's that, Honeybee?
I thought you were kidding.
No, I want to know. If you're a patient, what if you're a patient? Do you get more if you're sick or no?
I think you do, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So I
But
want
it's legal, so it doesn't matter.
I want 99.
99.
I'm not happy till there's 99 plants growing in my backyard.
And we'll make up a song. 99 green plants.
Who's that? Oh.
1111.
It's 11:11.
Yep, in Oregon.
So we're on to New Jersey Weed Man. We're gonna go to his jailers right now after the show, and talk to them. And then tomorrow.
Are you ending it now?
Yeah, and then tomorrow I'm going to Newark to the Department of Consumer Affairs because they won't talk to me on the phone. So I'm gonna go there. It pissed me off. Don't hang up on me.
Didn't they?
Don't you ever hang up on me.
On the air?
Big mistake.
Oh.
I'm on the air. What is? Click. Really? You work for us. We pay your friggin' salary, and you're gonna hang up on me? No. Now I'm coming for a visit, and now I'm gonna be obnoxious. My middle name will be used a lot. Fuckers. Ugh. Today's pissing me off too. Going to see Weed Man's jailers. They don't give a shit about him. He's just another black dude in jail. They're just like, oh, it's another number. When I was in Linden prosecuting, the prosecutor's office, it was like 10-1. I was like the only white guy in there. It was like 10-1 of people being prosecuted for marijuana and jaywalking. All the black and Latino people. Marijuana and jaywalking. Are you kidding me? Really? People get killed for that. A dude got shot for jaywalking. I don't know where, but that dude got shot for jaywalking.
What? Black guy?
Yeah. Like last year.
Black guys get shot all the time.
Yeah, well, it was for jaywalking.
Shit.
And he got killed for jaywalking.
Didn't Tupac get shot for jaywalking or something?
Oh, shit. He got shot for that? By a cop?
I remember either it was a scuffle or something, but yeah, that's the first time he got arrested when the cop approached him about jaywalking. Yeah, don't quote me on that. I remember him getting locked up for jaywalking, but I think it was some kind of altercation involved with it.
Yeah. I don't think white people get arrested for jaywalking. I don't think it happens. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all don't get locked up for littering, throwing cigarette butts either, but it happens.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It happens, yes. Littering.
Frustrating. And spitting. What did Phil get in trouble for? Didn't he get something like that too?
Spitting, yeah. Spitting
right?
out the window.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this is the reality of it, people.
And did he get away with that? Like, did he say he sneezed, right? It was a sneeze.
Yeah. But shit. Hey.
Give me a break. Yeah. Trenton cops. That's why Trenton cops get no respect from us here. I love most of the cops I've met on the tour. Trenton cops, I got a big problem with the whole force. Yeah. It's just corrupt.
The entire force.
Well, you're raping hookers, man. Come on, give me a break.
The entire force?
Most of them. Yeah. Except for that one lieutenant who told me don't get too stoned. She was all right.
Yeah.
She was nice. I like her.
See, I watched Serpico. There's always a good one.
Yeah, there's a few good ones. All right. I'll give you that. But ask Ed about the good cops in Trenton. Ask him. When he's facing the other end of a AR-15.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Where children go to eat, you're going to have AR-15s where children are eating? Really? Give me a break. Oh, they're black children. It doesn't matter. They don't count. They're black children. So it's okay. They're used to AR-15s in their face. That's okay. That's why they have PTSD in this town.
Yeah, true indeed.
No, there's a lot of reasons to have PTSD in this town. There is. That's why I like somebody taking the initiative to get people involved in this town who would be. You're not going to create a new wave of people being interested in something as much as giving people who are already and have been interested but don't have a venue. And it's one voice isn't going to get it done. So when you know you can be part of multiple voices, it gets a lot more interesting for people.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
You just got to get over that hump, you know, where you get a certain amount of interest,
Right.
and then it starts to roll, you know. But Trenton's a great model for it, though, because too few people do take part, and I think they get jaded, and it carries over to the proportion who vote, which is really low. And, you know, it shows disillusionment. So it's like, okay, there's a wave coming by here, a green wave. And people who want to take part in this green rush should be able to, you know. Right. But don't wait for it to happen before you get involved. It's not how it works.
Let's get Ed elected from prison. Let's start his campaign right now from prison for mayor.
Oh, shit.
Ed Fortune for mayor from prison. And he'll beat these guys. He will. He totally will, man.
He could get out the vote.
He came in like 3rd place for Congress.
Yeah, he got like 5,000
districts.
Yeah, come on, man, 5,000 votes. He can get that in his town,
right?
Easily. Shit, that'd be the biggest kick in the ass to them.
Oh, that would definitely be a possibility. Like, bro,
we need that. We need that. We need Ed as mayor. We really do.
You can't, you know, with the things going on at the national level, you certainly can't say he couldn't get elected.
Right.
You cannot say it's impossible. And it's not like somebody can say, come on, Ed Fortune is going to ruin the direction we want to ruin the direction we're going in,
yeah,
you know?
Status quo.
Yeah. You need somebody to shake things up? Well, track record of shaking things up. But you can get elected. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you can.
You can.
He shakes things up. Yeah. You get a president that way. We could get a mayor of Trenton that way, maybe. Oh, man. And that's March election?
Yeah, it's coming up, so we could start now.
Well, March 2018.
Let's start the Ed Fortune for mayor campaign.
Yeah.
Right now. Right now it starts.
Well, right now you got to research.
You're running for mayor?
Ed
What?
Fortune. Ed Fortune's running for mayor. Vote for Ed Fortune.
Oh.
He's being drafted.
What year?
Start now.
He can run this town from jail anyway.
People can run things from jail. We know that. I watch The Sopranos.
It's been proven over and over again.
So yeah, NewJerseyWeedman.com. They'll be open up soon. Yeah. It's still there. It's still there, but just give it time. It's sad what they did to that place. MagicalButter.com, Happy Daddy Products, DavidVersusAutism.org, Blue Planet Biotech, Run New Jersey, Medical-Freedom.com. Get your State of Compassion flags from Medical-Freedom.com. Legalize for Lorelei, Tuffy's Fight, CanaSense.
Don't forget to donate for William.
Yeah, donate money for William for his car.
He has a GoFundMe page.
Yeah, William does have a GoFundMe, and send him cab fare at least, so we can get here.
Right. Or go visit him.
New Jersey Grannies for Grass, JacksonStorms.com, Prayers for Sarah, Prayers for Pete, Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey, Jenna's Journey, Women's Veterans Collective, and the Weed for Warriors. Should we call Senator Cruz Perez? I don't want to bother Ricardo. I already asked him to do something for us, and he's busy right now with the whole Puerto Rico being destroyed. I can't ask Ricardo to do anything more. I think we should call her.
Well, why not call her not on the air?
Okay.
Or find another constituent. I mean, there's only 40 districts in New Jersey. We got you know more than 40 people. Find somebody who's a constituent. Try to get a meet, you know. Also, Pamela Lampett wrote the assembly version, and that's been posted since June 6th of last year. There's, I think I explained a group. We're somewhat aligned, but offered to, they have a meeting with Pamela Lampett at the end of October 20-something, I think, and wanted to know if they could represent something for us there. So it would be like, yeah, this is a bill that if it had happened last year when it was posted, in June of last year, Jenny Barber might still be at the Lark school, but she's not. Laura had to take her out of school. It was physically impossible, and it had everything to do with her having to go to give Jenny her lunchtime dose of medicine because a third party, the school nurse, wasn't allowed to. An easy thing to fix. The bill's there. Nobody's going to oppose it. There's a bill in the Senate. There's a bill in the Assembly. There have been. The Assembly was June 6th. The one in the Senate followed a half year later. Oh man. Yeah, let's Facebook. Let's like make Facebook worth something here, and say we want to approach through a constituent, and it's an election time, so they're both up for election, and you know, show up where they are. They're going to be out somewhere. They're going to be at a Columbus Day parade or something. Well, they don't have Columbus Day parades, but I'm celebrating Columbus Day. Got a free room in Tropicana Casino Motel.
All right.
Yep.
What do you mean you're celebrating Columbus Day?
Because it happens to be on. It's on like Sunday night, so I'm not really celebrating Columbus Day, but it gives my better half a reason to not be at work on Monday, which means that you can get the free room Sunday night because you know. And it's pretty much just because it's fun having the free room, and now I got my medical marijuana registration card. It'll be a smoking room. Yes, it will. And I'm going to bring the sticky with me.
They can kick you out for that.
Yeah, well, if they kick us out, we're never going to go get a free room again. We'll take our free room business somewhere else, buddy. That's right. No, basically the free room thing is they know what happens. Is that just gives you money to lose at slot machines or something, you know. I go for the fried pickles at Hooters. They have a Hooters that has fried pickles, and I love fried pickles.
Fried pickles, oh my God, yum.
They're so good. And they're like crinkle cut sort of pickles, so the fried stuff sticks real good, and the dipping sauce is fantastic. And you know, I went to a table with the Coalition for Medical Marijuana at the Fried Pickle Festival that they have at Long Beach Island a year and a half ago. They didn't have. It was a pickle festival. It's called. They didn't have. No vendors had fried pickles at the pickle festival. The hell. Yeah, and that's the whole reason I went and tabled there. I volunteered. Yeah, I'll Coalition table. At least I'll get fried pickles. yeah, whatever. So.
Well, Jim, would you like to start the list?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No.
Go ahead, Lefty. So good at it.
Well, we all know who's first.
That's why he doesn't want to start.
Yeah. Yeah, this was you get anniversaries every year, but there's always a time of the year, you know, where before it would be like birthday and anniversary. Now it's like anniversary of all sorts of stuff, like the September 22nd would have been the day that we had the memorial for Cheryl at the Supreme Court. And that's just so memorable. You know, people coming to Washington from around the country, MS patients, many in wheelchairs, to go to a Supreme Court memorial and a lobbying expedition led by Barney Frank and Dana Rohrabacher, you know, congressman. just doing stuff. So there's times you remember. And that was memorable. Not a real happy occasion, though, but memorable nonetheless.
Why?
Well, it's like Cheryl's memorial says she passed on in June 3rd, and here we were September. That took that much time to be able to arrange the funding and logistics to get people there. But then to be standing at the steps of the Supreme Court, we're not allowed on the steps. There's a whole area right in front of it. And I'd take my foot and I'd put it up on a step and I'd look at the guy.
You're such a dick. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. How about if I got one foot on a step and one foot down here? Because I can take my foot off that step before you move.
How about now?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, I was in that kind of mode. Yeah.
You're funny.
But at the end, and you can see in the video that Irvin Darden took. That's I'll post it on YouTube at the end of the memorial, and I had a few words to say, and it's just a lot of people there, a lot of just people you would all know. The feeling of at the end saying, to sum it up, is I told everybody, that when I was done or counted to 3, I forget which, I'll have to go back and look, that I was going to say, I love you, Cheryl, and everybody followed suit, and it echoed off the facade of the Supreme Court. It echoed, because, when boom, it's staccato at the end, and in the quiet of the night, it hung, because it was like going and coming back. It was chilling. It really was, because from right there, you look directly opposite the Supreme Court is the Capitol building. So there's the dome right here, and no matter which way you face.
I feel that here sometimes. This old building here, it's almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
There's a lot of energy here.
There is, and the fact that we're doing this now where nothing else is going on, this is our playground today. It will be for the rest of our podcast time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, up and through election, the last couple days, we may have conflict in November, because I don't think people come out to protest in November.
No.
Yeah.
So thank you, Cheryl Miller. Sabina Rose, little baby. Diane Ripatella from Lou Gehrig's disease, horrible, horrible disease. Gracie, little baby. Cindy May, another little girl. Marie from Pennsylvania, died from cancer. Little Jack from Colorado. Joan Ford was William's mother. Randy Robertson from Pennsylvania, died from cancer. Bill Buckman. Chad died from cancer. Jeremy was a victim of the drug war. The drug war ruined his family, ruined his life, and ultimately killed him. Colette is Jeff's mom. She died from MS. Matt. Troy from pancreatic cancer. Russ Perry from liver cancer. Roger Barber from a heart attack. Complications from a heart attack, I believe it was. He had blood clots. I think the heart attack caused him blood clots. And the blood clots, I think, was what killed him.
Oh, dear. It was related.
So yeah, it was something horrible. He lingered for like 3 days in the hospital. We all thought he would just pull through and just.
It was a surprise.
Yeah, he just didn't make it. It was really, really sad, because he was truly needed by his family and by us, and
it was not supposed to be that way.
I don't know how his family's going on without him. I don't know.
Not well, probably.
No. J.R. Leto died 2 weeks after he asked me about a card. He called me and says, "Hey, Lefty, how do I get a cannabis card?" And I gave him all the information I had. And I said, "Here you go, man. Have at it. Good luck to you. Good luck getting through this program." No, I didn't really say that, but I tried to help him. But it wasn't enough. It was easier for him to go down the corner and get a dime bag of heroin and kill himself. That's what he did. He's dead. He's on my list. He's on our horrible list here because of friggin' opiates. Friggin' heroin, man. Because he couldn't get cannabis, and he tried. He called me for cannabis 2 weeks before he died. He couldn't get it. This should not be happening. You should be able to get cannabis easier than heroin. I mean, heroin should not be the easiest thing to get. Ella Bagelman. She was here a few times with us. She died from brain cancer. Alfredo is scared now. That was his reaction. Now he's scared. That's the feeling. The first thing that came to his mind is he's scared. And what do you say? What do you say to someone who just lost their soulmate and they're friggin' scared?
The only thing you can say is, I have no idea how you feel. That's the only accurate statement you can make. You have no idea. Doesn't matter if you've been through anything seemingly similar.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Nope.
You never do. Any more than you imagine what it'll be like for you if there's something pending, I found out one thing when Cheryl passed on is you can never be ready. There's no way to get ready. It's impossible. You can't. That sucks. I mean, you ought to be able to get ready. But that's the fact. The side effect of cannabis, euphoria. Why that should be a problem, it should be a reason to have it, not a reason not to. It is so integral if you're in time of ill health. To have anything resembling euphoria, even for a second, is healthful.
Healthful. I like that. I like helpful.
Yeah.
Healthful. Helpful.
I like that.
Yeah, helpful, hurtful, hopeful, healthful. Now we got 4 H's now.
No. But it should be. And also hope. It's the hopeful part as well.
I like hopeful. Because you don't have to have hope to give hope. That's what's cool about hope. You can have no hope. You can be hopeless and still give someone else hope. How does that work?
It's why people buy lottery tickets? It gives them hope. I mean, the millionaire, the hundreds of millions. Even I do. It gives me the right to daydream for a couple of bucks.
Yeah, it's worth the $2 to have those daydreams, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, just to and that is good for a body that's either under repair or assault. Either one.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to have that respite. So it's just the exact opposite reaction that should have been had when people notice the properties of cannabis.
Well, Hattie Koshel was my grandma, and she was 95 the first time she got stoned.
My goodness.
I got grandma stoned, yeah.
She never did?
No.
When she was little?
No, she got drunk and she smoked cigarettes, but she never got stoned. Grandma was cool, man. As I'm looking at someone in a wheelchair.
She wears cool things.
Yeah, as I'm watching someone in a wheelchair. Of course, they're walking on this side of the street because on the other side of the street, you can't get into those buildings because they're all steps. So that wheelchair, I can't get in over there. That's sad.
You called your grandma from the show a couple times.
Yeah, she was always fun on the show.
She was hilarious.
She was really good. Now Mom's taking her place, and Mom's getting better. I called Mom last week, the other day. It was good. Because I asked her about my Aunt Helen, who was a shut-in in Bayonne. And I wanted more information. And my aunt really was a shut-in all those years. She couldn't leave her apartment. It's sad. I imagine how many more shut-ins we don't hear about because we just don't see them because they're shut
Right.
in. They're freaking locked in their room. You don't see them.
Right.
Oh, they're there.
But they're there. They are. So Hattie Koshel. And the last name on our list is Honeybee's son.
Michael Dillon.
He died from a drop seizure. A lot of our friends have seizures. And you see a lot of kids with helmets on. And that's why they're wearing a helmet, because of drop seizures. Bad things happen when you have drop seizures. Sarah Weber, have you ever seen the pictures of Sarah Weber and her drop seizures? Missing a tooth, black eye, hand ripped open. I mean, horrible, horrible injuries from her drop seizures. She's afraid to take showers. She's afraid to leave the house. She lives in fear. So why aren't we doing everything we can for these sick people? We need to give them less hoops to jump through and not more.
Mm-hmm.
They have enough to deal with. Their families have enough to deal with.
You sure do. Horrible. Thanks for remembering him.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this list, everyone. It's hurtful.
Why do we do what we do?
It is, and it's hurtful, it's helpful, it's hopeful, and now it's healthful. Because it's going to create awareness about health.
Mm-hmm.
Because this list is all about cannabis patients. That's why we do this list. It's all cannabis-related patients. And cannabis either helped them, prolong their life, or could have helped them, and should have helped them. Like Sabina Rose was waiting for her card. So that's what this list is for. It's our cannabis. It's a cannabis awareness list.
We all need to help each other.
Yes, we do, because the
and
government...
help someone who needs.
Yes, because the government's not doing it. So 10%, right, Honeybee? 10%?
Right, 10%.
10% of your pot field is what, a couple of acres?
Right? Or even if you don't, want to give 10%, you can give money so they can get it themselves. I mean, there's other ways. We can always help.
Whenever
you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember.